Good morning. It is 10 o'clock. I will call this Board of County Commissioners meeting to order, and we will start with a salute to the flag. And Vice Chair Herman, will you please lead us? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. We will now do the roll call. Madam Clerk.
Alexis Hill, Chair.
Here.
Jeannie Herman, Vice Chair.
Here.
Michael Clark.
Present.
Mary Luz Garcia appears to be absent. Clara Andriola.
Present.
County Manager Eric Brown. Assistant District Attorney Nathan Edwards.
Here.
And I'm Chief Deputy Clerk Kathy Smith. You have a quorum.
Thank you so much. We will now move to our invocation, and I invite Marilyn McDonald from the Christian Science Center to come up and deliver it.
I'm honored today to offer this prayer as part of the interfaith community. Prayer means that we desire to walk and will walk in the light so far as we receive it. What we most need is the prayer of fervent desire for growth in grace, expressed in patience, meekness, love, and good deeds. May you all be filled with divine wisdom, truth, and love as you do your good work towards the betterment of our beloved community. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Ms. McDonald. And now we will move to public comment. Mr. Manager.
Public comment heard under this item will be limited to 3 minutes per person and may pertain to matters both on and off the commission agenda. The commission will also hear public comment during individual action items with comment limited to 3 minutes per person. Comments are to be made to the commission as a whole. This item will be virtual public comment eligible as provided above in this agenda at Incline Village and Gerlach when those facilities are available. Please contact the Office of the County Manager at Washoe 311 or 328-2003 the day before the meeting to confirm if these locations will be available.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. And I will now ask the clerk to call public comment.
First, we have Helen Neff over Zoom.
We cannot hear you, Ms. Neff. I'm wondering if it's silent on your side.
Tess, can you hear us now?
Yes, we can.
Oh, good. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you. Sorry about that. But thank you for allowing public comment from Incline Village. My name is Helen Neff, and I live in Incline Village, and I'm commenting on agenda item number 11 for later today. It sounds like the agreement to pass authority from TRPA and TTD to Washoe County for planning the Crystal Bay to Incline Village section of the Nevada state line to state line bikeway needs to be done in order not to lose public funding. The staff report says due to bandwidth, the TTD was no longer able to support the administrative functions of this grant. So this statement is disturbing for a number of reasons, but I trust those are being addressed by TTD and TRPA. So regardless, I'd like to take this opportunity to communicate to this board that the public outreach component of this planning process is critical. Incline Village residents have many comments to share regarding the effects of the already built East Shore Trail, which has turned into a tourist attraction with related issues of added traffic violations, overcrowding, parking, and trash, not to mention the conflict with e-bikes. So public outreach is important so as not to repeat the past mistakes. In the Washoe County Tahoe Transportation Plan, which was formally recognized by the BCC on April 26th of this year, the Crystal Bay Path Extension is listed as long-term, meaning 10 years or more. So that would be 2033. The plan also has 3 pages of recommendations that are listed as near-term and mid-term, and many are needed to address safety concerns, which was the highest priority of residents taking the related survey. So there are maps in the report which show segments of our multi-use paths that have not yet been completed, and they're scheduled for earlier completion than this Crystal Bay path. So the concern is that Washoe County will be taking over responsibility for the Crystal Bay extension, and due to this fear of losing grant funds, and we'll give it priority over completing these other long overdue local bikeways, which will directly benefit our town center and local residents, not only for biking, but for walking. And that includes snow removal, snow clearance on our pathways, so that people don't have to walk in the roads during the winter months. So I understand the grant money has been allocated. One specific project that the report says will enhance visitor and community experience. However, the Incline residents want to be sure that the recommendations in the Tahoe Area Transportation Plan are also taken on as a responsibility of Washoe County and are completed in a timely manner. So it would be helpful to know when a specific update to the recommendations in that plan would be communicated to the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Danielle Reynolds.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Daniela Reynolds. I'm speaking on agenda item 18. Agenda item 16 this time around. And that is the appointment of the Board of Equalization. So I have put in an application for a Board of Equalization, and I believe that I would serve that board and the community very well, coming from a business background. So I don't have any other experience on a board, but I think it would be a really great opportunity to bring the experience that I have as a professional, done a lot of project management, and I have also evaluated projects and assets and what their return on investment would be. And so that might seem a little odd for tax assessment in Washoe County, but would actually be an asset because as I was working on these projects in the business world, we are looking at millions of dollars worth of inventory on a regular basis. So we are trying to make sure our stockholders feel comfortable. And I think I could do the same for Washoe County, is make sure that if there is some discrepancy between what the county assessor has on a tax property, the tax assessment of a property, we can look and see how that's going to benefit the citizens of Washoe County. So if you would give me an opportunity to be on the Board of Equalization, I think I could serve very well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Madam Clerk, before you call the next person, I did forget to mention for item 18, and certainly people can speak on this item during public comment, we are going to continue that item. It was requested by one of the applicants to continue that item. It will be in our November agendas, and we'll keep people posted, but that's the appeal of the Safe Embrace application. So certainly you can speak on it today, right now, and as well as we will open up the public hearing to allow people to speak on it since it is agendized, but we will be continuing the hearing overall. So thank you. Now, Madam Clerk, go ahead. Thank you.
Next is Vicky D. Member, who will be followed by Katie Nepper.
Dear Commissioners, thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm actually here on behalf of a survivor of Safe Embrace. She went through the program, stayed in the shelter in the very early days, and I'd like to read her statement. To whom it may concern, my name is Susanna Case, And I can't express the tremendous need for this unique domestic violence shelter to exist. I came to Reno in 2001 from California praying that I would be able to escape my abuser. I tried to leave for many years, and he always found me. It was necessary that I left far enough so I wouldn't be found. I tried many DV shelters and was turned away because my abuser was far away, and it was assumed that I was not in immediate danger. Safe Embrace is the only shelter that understood. Thanks to Safe Embrace, I successfully began a new life without fear and without being located. I was able to get a scholarship and attended Morrison University. I then got a job, bought a home, and my boys grew up in a safe community. My oldest now works for the city of Reno, and my youngest is going to college to be a school teacher. I then went on to open my own nonprofit, which helped house homeless males, now feeds homeless people. My success story is because Safe Embrace gave me an opportunity and gave me the tools to learn how to recognize the red flags of abuse. The total success of my family is owed to the kindness of Safe Embrace. I have known Susanna many years. I've watched her open her own nonprofit, helped her. What she's not saying here, it's not just homeless males. Most of these are physically and mentally disabled severely. She's done this on her own because of Safe Embrace. Thank you.
Thank you.
Katie Nepper, followed by Alfred Nepper.
Katie Nepper on behalf of Alfred Nepper. The county has quite obviously taken sides with Safe Embrace. Even before the Board of Adjustment meeting, we supplied planning with proof Safe Embrace only had 2756 livable space for a maximum of 16 occupants. Planning said they would forward on to building, but we never received a reply. During the Board of Adjustment meeting on August 3rd, Ms. Olander referred to specific permit numbers being finaled. She was correct. They were finaled, but those permits had nothing to do with converting the garage and all of the attached structure into livable space, even though she assured the Board of Adjustment multiple times they did. Here's the proof that the detached structure only has approximately 300 square feet of livable space, not 1,000 as stated by Safe Embrace in planning's presentation. Even if all were permitted, which it isn't, the whole structure is 24 by 40, which equals 960. Deduct 96 square feet for the bathroom, you get 864. Yet another falsification by Safe Embrace perpetrated by planning. This is from the actual building permit from 2006, from 2018, stating everything but the office was not permitted into livable space. Ms. Olander's last email to us on 10/5 said they would worry about the living space that the SUP has approved. Don't you think it's important to know Safe Embrace has never had livable space for 18 occupants they are requesting, much less 25? From Mr. Pierce's statement that he trusted Julie's calculations, had the Board of Adjustment known this, it would most likely have been denied unanimously. No matter what is decided here today, which won't be, we never made a false or inaccurate public comment as Safe Embrace's attorneys claim. We worked for hours and hours on our presentations to make sure we had them right. Notice nowhere do they say what these inaccurate statements were. On the other hand, in the September meetings, we have shown you statement after statement that were purposely inaccurate and or false on Safe Embrace's part with documentation to prove it. Safe Embrace's attorney's letter to Mr. Lloyd is attachment A. It is full of inaccurate statements and logical interpretations not to their liking. Their letter states inaccurate statements regarding the ongoing litigation were made during public comment, but conveniently doesn't say what they were. Comparing a group home, a group care facility with more than 21 people, 18 plus 4 staff, to a Tier 3 short-term rental is all about the impact that many people have on a residential lot meant for one single-family dwelling. It is inappropriate no matter what type of facility is involved. The Board of Adjustment was wise enough to recognize that. The attorneys go on to say that substantial evidence supports all 5 findings necessary for the granting of Safe Embrace's SUP. Them merely stating that doesn't make it so. No substantial evidence is produced. First, we have already shown in site suitability their square footage is wrong.
Okay, Katie Nepper would also like to speak on behalf of herself.
Katie Nepper. Next in consistency, they say the actual facility has been operating as a shelter for over 30 years, from 94 to present. In 94, we appeared before this board with our attorney, Jim Hardesty. It was made very clear to us that Bridges in Consciousness was a group home like any other group home and was allowed anywhere in the county with a maximum of 5 permanent residents at the time. Saying the actual facility has been operating as a shelter for over 30 years, so the SUP will not disrupt the purpose or activity is ridiculous. It has been operating, or at least to the best of our knowledge, is operating as a group home for over 30 years, which is no different from any other residents in the eyes of the county, and we're not saying they can't operate and continue as a group home. In improvements, they say Safe Embrace has paid for their share of road maintenance on our private road. They are trying to lead you to believe that pitching in $250 for a temporary fix of asphalt grinding satisfies this claim. It most certainly doesn't. They state the maintenance has taken place since the Board of Adjustment hearing on August 3rd. Also not true. It was finished on July 20th and was already in place when Mr. Pierce went out the morning of August 3rd to look at it. He stated at the meeting that day what horrible shape our road was in, but the attorneys don't want you to know that, since it doesn't look good under the improvement finding that the road looks horrible. We maintained this private street for over 30 years with no help whatsoever from Safe Embrace. We have filled their potholes time and again without so much as a thank you. The attorneys say one of the commissioners denied the application based on failure to establish the site suitability findings, stating he had not seen the property in person and relied upon outdated pictures provided by members of the public. The only male to deny the application made the motion to deny it on improvements on site not detrimental, not site suitability. And the 2 pictures showing the conditions of the property were taken July 1st, 23 and July 15th, 23, as proven by the date stamps on the email to Adriana Albaran in planning to show for us at the meeting. Certainly not outdated. In issuance not detrimental, the attorneys say there has not been one incident in or around the shelter in the 22 years of operation that was detrimental to the health, safety, or welfare of the public. Tell that to our next-door neighbor, who was awakened around 2 in the morning to loud knocks on the door by the sheriff's deputies in regard to a domestic violence issue. They, of course, had the wrong house. They then say the neighbors have been repeatedly informed of staff emails and the 24-hour live call number for Safe Embrace if they needed to report or discuss anything happening in the neighborhood, and no calls have been received. No calls have obviously been received, since we have never been informed of any of that. They even told the Board of Adjustment no neighborhood response program was in place. On the appeal form, Safe Embrace says Board of Adjustment based its decision on false public comment and inapplicable county code. The only false comments were the ones made by Safe Embrace in the county. And unlike Safe Embrace, we have the documentation to prove it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Penny Brock, followed by Samantha Gonzalez.
Good morning, Penny Brock. Please put my comments in the record per NRS. I'm wondering why we have 3 sheriff deputies here today. Is there a problem that we're not safe? Also, I found out that in Washington, D.C., Congress does not have metal detectors. Why are we supposed to go through metal detectors? Are you all more important than the members of the Congress and U.S. Senate? The metal detectors are meant to intimidate the public from coming and speaking to you. There is not any threat. So I would ask the metal detectors be removed. We've asked for that several times. The other issue I'd like to address is the senior centers. I found out that the senior centers in Washoe County have been brought under the umbrella of Washoe County. The city of Reno and the city of Sparks do not handle the senior centers. The city of Sparks has at least 2 senior centers, and then they use community centers and so on for their seniors. That is great. I was told that they provide the buildings, the city of Sparks provide the buildings, and Washoe County provides the staff. That's great. But now let's talk about Reno. Reno has no senior center. The senior center here on 9th Street is, as we know, it's becoming a place for the CARES Campus people. The seniors of Reno are not, a few of them are using the senior center, but it's not being used like it should. So I would ask that perhaps the libraries in Reno can be used for the seniors. They're doing this in Las Vegas. They're also doing it in Sparks. There is, I live in District 2. We have a lovely, we call it the little yellow library on Wedge Parkway. It's got a nice meeting room that could be used for lunches for seniors. They don't need a kitchen because they can bring the food in and use the hot trays or whatever. So this is a real need in Reno that's being overlooked by Washoe County Senior Services. Now we know who to talk to about this. So I would ask, and I know Commissioner Clark is working on this issue for seniors. We have a real need. So I would ask that the commissioners look into why your staff, the senior services, is not addressing the seniors in Reno. There's also a nice library in Northwest Reno that could be used for seniors. I think there are a couple other buildings in Reno owned perhaps by the city of Reno that could be used for seniors. This is the largest demographic in Washoe County, growing. We've got 111,000 seniors in Washoe County. The seniors are being neglected.
Thank you.
Samantha Gonzalez, followed by Nora Constantina.
Hello. I'm Samantha Gonzalez, a native Washoe County resident, and I want to talk to you about 2 issues today. The first is the confidentiality of domestic violence shelter addresses. The federal government takes it very seriously and even stipulates in its federal grants that it prohibits grant recipients from disclosing the address or location of these shelters, and failure to do this can result in loss of grant funding. The state of Nevada also takes it very seriously, and in 1997 passed legislation regarding a confidential address program so that victims could use a confidential address and couldn't be tracked through public records. There's over 1,500 Nevadans actually using that program today. The residents of Ponderosa Drive have repeatedly voiced concerns over safety. We have women who get dropped off and picked up in front of our house and at the end of the street, both day and night. We've had women ask us for a ride to find out they live at the shelter. Safe Embrace invited cameras into the shelter for TV, and immediately after that, we had increased traffic on our street. But Washoe County has repeatedly listed the address on all the documents regarding Safe Embrace. You even had a link on the special use permit application that you could click on, and it zoomed into the map and the house itself. Even your agenda items today have the address and parcel numbers all over them. Washoe County has had 3 domestic violence murders in the last 6 months in which the partner tracked these women down, all had TPOs, and murdered them. As neighbors, our concerns about safety have been repeatedly dismissed, and we should be valued as well. The other issue is licensing of domestic violence shelters in Washoe County. I'm not speaking to business licensing or meeting building code. I'm talking about licensing through human services. If they were all adults, they'd be licensed. If they were all kids, they would be licensed. And the health and safety and well-being of kids would be insured. But because they're not licensed, they're not held accountable to any entity or any person. They have a kids club in their documents. What is that? Is that a child care program? There are kids there with unrelated adults sharing pretty small common spaces. They essentially are living with strangers who by definition are transient, meaning the residents are only there for a few days to up to 90 days. As you know, that comes with good and bad. Some residents are quiet and friendly, some definitely are not. Of concern to all of us is there's no staff at Safe Embrace at night. When do you think the problems start? These kids are with a bunch of people thrown together with no staff there. If you approve this special use permit, you are allowing more unrelated people. It's ripe for disaster. I'll give you an example. We see women walking during the day with kids down the street, and then one night we saw a woman walking alone back to the shelter at night. Where are her kids? Are they with all these unrelated people? At that time, none of us knew there was no staff at Safe Embrace at night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Ann Silver, followed by Tracy Hilton Thomas.
I thought you said Constantino was next.
Okay.
It's
Okay. I don't know where that went.
Madam Clerk, do you want to call up Nora?
Sure.
Okay.
Nora Constantina.
I heard my name. Good morning. My name is Dr. Nora Constantino, and I was born and raised in Washoe County. With the exception of graduate school and undergraduate, I've always lived in Washoe County. I'm opposed to the special use permit for Safe Embrace for health and safety, really. My sister's family moved on to Ponderosa Drive in 2000. It was a quiet street with big 1-acre lots. Most of the people were original owners or had lived there for several years. It was an idyllic, hidden gem in the city. Gradually, things began to change. I would see women walking down to my sister's house at the end of the dead end and wait for a car to pull up, and then they would get in and drive off. This could happen any time of the day or night. When I found out the property at the other end of the Ponderosa Drive was no longer a small group home for end-of-life care for people that were dying of HIV and AIDS, but now a domestic violence shelter, I was surprised. Is it legal and safe to have such a shelter in this neighborhood? A bigger concern for me was the women were leaving. What about their kids? Another issue is the health and safety of the entire neighborhood, not just the women. They need to be safe as well. Domestic abusers cross all races, socioeconomic status, and genders. The important thing is that the address of Safe Embrace has been part of public record. In this day and age with a computer in your hand, in the form of a smartphone, you can find any address anytime. I've seen mostly males or women from Safe Embrace waiting at the end of the street to meet. This was before the address even became public. Keeping women in a secure, anonymous place is of utmost importance. This is no longer possible for the women of Safe Embrace, as the address is public knowledge. It's out in the public sphere, and you can't take it back. No one can be safe now. In the interest of the health and safety of all, the permanent residents of Ponderosa Drive and the temporary residents of Safe Embrace, it is not in the best interest of any to approve this special use permit. I strongly recommend the denial of this permit. It's in the best interest of public health. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ann Silver.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Good morning, Chair Hill and Washoe County Commissioners. My name is Ann Silver. I'm here today on behalf of Safe Embrace, and I live in Washoe County and serve as the CEO of the Reno-Sparks Chamber of Commerce. Dissatisfaction with one's neighbors is a time-honored tradition. When we rent or purchase a place to live, we don't often know who lives next door, their lifestyles, challenges, domestic issues, or barking dogs. Safe Embrace, a member of our chamber, continues to house women and children determined to leave situations of domestic abuse and terror, and provides them short-term shelter and transition assistance. These women are brave and resolute in their efforts to change the trajectory of their lives. I respect the concerns of neighbors who don't appreciate the Safe Embrace residents located in the quiet neighborhood of their homes. But we have foster homes, drug and alcohol treatment facilities, urgent care centers, and residence for distressed youth and adults located throughout our entire community. We are living in a time of indignation, lack of respect for others, and diminishing compassion for those who have less than we do and need our help. I encourage this board to permit an increase to the number of beds at Safe Embrace for the sake of the women and children determined to emerge invigorated and ready to live independently. The Reno Sparks Chamber of Commerce offers to serve as a mediator between Safe Embrace and the concerned neighbors. We believe that common sense and constructive dialogue will lead to resolution of this dispute. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tracy Hilton Thomas.
Good morning, Commissioners. I thank you for the opportunity to provide comment on my behalf for the appointment to the Board of Equalization. And thank you, Commissioner Andriola, for trying to contact me. I'm sorry that we didn't get to connect, but I do know that we talked about this on another board appointment that we discussed. I can appreciate candidates who have previously served on this board applying for reappointment, as well as the candidates who have and are already serving on other boards. However, I would like to request consideration for new members who have not had the privilege to serve on a board to be given a turn at this unique experience. I am one of those candidates, in addition to possessing the diverse background perfect for this position. Ephesians 2:10 tells us, "For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared us in advance for us to do." It really is amazing to see the threads of our life experiences woven randomly into a canvas, and then when it gets turned over, it becomes a beautiful tapestry. My 47-year residence in Washoe County and employment with William Kimmel and other local commercial appraisals provide historical knowledge of development within Washoe County. I was actually the founder of our local apartment rent survey. My lending experience contributes to my ability to analyze appraisals, and my previous 17-year employment with Washoe County provides institutional knowledge other candidates do not have. I am also well practiced in open meeting law and Robert's Rules of Order. It would be a great honor to apply my skill sets to this position. I thank you very much for your vote.
Thank you.
Cheryl Guinan.
Board of Commissioners and all constituents here in the room, thank you for allowing me 3 minutes to speak. Please forgive me if my voice shakes. I stand before you today as a survivor of domestic abuse. Domestic violence is a scary and taboo subject to talk about, mostly because it's not talked about enough. It can be hard to share as a victim. It can also be very hard to understand and live with it if you're hearing or seeing it from the outside. But it's too common in our area not to have this discussion. We have too little resources to combat domestic violence, and we should be adding to the resources, not taking away. I work in a profession where I'm surrounded by mandated reporters. In 2012, I came to work covered in bruises. I had stopped trying to hide those bruises. It was in that moment my bravest attempt to silently ask for help. In that environment in 2012, not one person asked if I needed help or if I was okay. That's how hard it can be for a victim in our area to get help. And it should have been easy. It should have been offered and given. I was terrified for my toddlers and my own safety. I was trying to overcome and escape. I am thankful for Safe Embrace and the services they provide. I'm a strong, healthy, and safe woman today, as well as my daughter, because of support from resources like Safe Embrace. We need more shelters. We can't be cutting resources. We should be adding. I would like to state that again. Today, with the help of the resources like Safe Embrace, I stand before you as a contributing member of our society and our community. I've created a scholarship that's an endowment that will be awarded to survivors of domestic abuse so those too can get out of their situation through education. I wouldn't have been able to do that or be strong enough to do that without organizations that told me I am worthy and I am deserving of a safe and healthy life like all of my community members, and that's because of Safe Embrace. I ask you today to please vote in favor of Safe Embrace's agenda number 18. Again, I thank you for all comments shared today. It's important from whatever side you're on because it's what starts the conversation and what helps heal our community and helps our community grow stronger together. Thank you.
Thank you.
Matthew Wilkie.
Good morning, Chair Hale and members of the Commission. My name is Matthew Wilkie, for the record. I'm here to bring you updates since I was here last week during your last meeting. I'm relieved to inform you that my friend that I spoke about, who was previously houseless, has managed to find temporary housing at Hope Springs. He has already obtained a bus pass and has sat down and spoke with a case manager and has a clear path going forward. It was through connections made in the community that we're able to make this possible. And able to find that opportunity, as assistance from the county was regrettably absent. Following last week, the chair asked a staff member to meet with me, which they did. I reached out to county officials roughly 24 hours after that meeting to request information. Unfortunately, I did not receive a response by the end of business on Friday. I did receive a response on Saturday afternoon after I sent an email requesting an update. I was told that information was sent to human resource personnel and that I would be updated. But as of to date, as of right now, I still yet to receive any further information. In light of these experiences, I kindly request that information on how to gain access and take a tour of the campus and figure out the ball that was dropped. Additionally, I would like to reiterate my request last week to include a real-time counts on the agenda and prioritize establishment of warming shelters as winter is rapidly approaching. Housing should be top priority, and I urge you to take decisive actions in this regard. Furthermore, just taking a brief look at the agenda, I want to express my support for Thu Tran for the senior citizens appointment. I think that would be a greatly benefit and to the county, and aside from that, that's all I have. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Gary Schmidt. Mr. Schmidt has some documents which will be passed out to the board.
Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, Gary Schmidt. I'll dispense with my background. I think most of you know it by now. I would like my comments placed in the record in detail and my exhibits attached to the minutes. Gerlach. We're here to talk about Gerlach again. What's going on with the GID and Gerlach reminds me of the movie Animal House. Let me say that there is a master plan amendment zoning change application coming your way. I think you're going to hear it sometime in early November. There's 4 reasons, good reasons why you should reject this application. Number 1, it's blatantly illegal. NRS 318, which you now have a copy of, the provisions that are allowed for GIDs to do activities for them to function, you have in front of you. What the GID is trying to do is enter into the private development business with residential, industrial, and commercial properties. Their minutes clearly reflect they want to build buildings, become landlords, and compete in the private sector in the development business. Clearly illegal and also in violation of the county charter. Two other reasons that you should reject it is in violation of the character statement in the master plan. The property they are attempting to develop and increase the density from 3 lots to the acre to 9 lots to the acre is zoned appropriately according to the master plan and will be in non-compliance if you grant it. And the third reason that you should reject it is the county staff makes statements that the community generally supports this application is blatantly false. There are only 5 GID members and 1 public member on the record supporting this application as it currently exists. I have petitions and letters from approaching 50 people in a community of only 110 people that oppose it. So clearly those are false statements. And the last reason that you should reject it, and I would direct this to Mr. Clark, Commissioner Clark through the chair, that the reason for the lot shortage in Gerlach is that the GID has held this 18 acres off the market for 7 years. And during that time period, they've paid no property tax. And if they're successful in doing what they want to do and develop the property and own it, they'll never pay any property tax on it. So that's unfair competition to the private sector and not in the best interest of the community.
Thank you.
Sandy Tibbet.
Good morning. Sandy Tibbet for the record. I am grateful this board chose to recognize the rise in suicide and mental health issues in our children, but unfortunately neither superintendent, trustees, or commissioners are willing to admit to the real root cause. Everyone keeps blaming the fake pandemic when you should be looking at yourselves. Now, you may not have been sitting on this dais at the time our tyrannical government was locking us up, masking us up, or locking us down, masking us up, and isolating us from our loved ones, but you are still complicit when you sit up there and continue to cast blame on something that was forced upon us by our own elected officials. You have critical thinking skills to discern what is right from what is wrong, or what is real from what is fake, don't you? God gave you the capability to have free will and think for yourselves, and yet you choose to be sheep and be led by fear and propaganda. You have pledged your allegiance to a partnership with this system that is destroying our most precious gifts and our future. When are you going to realize you're on the wrong side of the aisle? When are you going to realize you are being manipulated by our government and the media? God is peeling back the layers for all to see, and what is being revealed is shocking and disgusting. How many more layers must be exposed before you start questioning the insanity of what is happening in our country and around the world? Or do you consider this normal? Children and young adults being diagnosed with myocarditis and dying from heart attacks, strokes, and turbo cancers is not normal. Children mutilated in the name of gender ideology is not normal. East Palestine train derailment was not an accident. Paradise, California, and Lahaina were not organic wildfires. COVID-19 was a scam propagated by the media with fear porn and propaganda. Billions of American dollars sent to Ukraine to cover up money laundering, human trafficking, and biolabs, while Americans suffer. Orchestrated war in Israel to sow further division in our country. Our country is being attacked from within. World War III is imminent. I pray you can open your eyes to see past the lies before it is too late for you and your family. Thank you.
Elizabeth Abdur Rahim.
Good morning. I am Elizabeth Abdur Rahim, the Executive Director of the Nevada Coalition to End Domestic and Sexual Violence. First, I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak here with you today. It is incredibly timely that we come here in October, Domestic Violence Awareness Month, to discuss this really important issue. Safe Embrace proudly serves victim survivors in Washoe County through provision of life-saving advocacy services. Their advocates are with individuals through the worst moments of their lives, assisting them to leave life-threatening situations and walking alongside them as they regain safety and self-sufficiency. Their tireless advocacy depends on being able to safely house victim survivors during their transitions in order to keep them safe and healthy. Safe Embraces Shelter is one of only 2 emergency shelters for victim survivors of domestic violence in Washoe County. As such, it is vitally important that it be able to operate at full capacity. Domestic violence is unfortunately prevalent in our nation, our state, and Washoe County. The statistics are even more vital here in Nevada. Nevada currently ranks 2nd in the nation for domestic violence per capita and has ranked in the top 10 states for 23 of the past 25 years for the rates of women killed by men. In just one 24-hour period last September, 571 victim survivors of domestic violence were served across our state. Of those served, 354 of them found safety in emergency shelters. Yet on that same day, 33 victim survivors, 23 of whom were seeking safe shelter, could not have their needs met due to a decrease in capacity. Had all of Safe Embrace's shelter beds been available, it's possible we could have helped these victim survivors. Beyond the rates of violence, we also know that Nevada ranks 10th in our country for the prevalence of homelessness, with Washoe County having the highest rates in the state. Domestic violence continues to be the leading cause of homelessness among women. When we limit safe shelter that is readily available in Washoe County, we are truly forcing victim survivors to choose between staying with an abuser and homelessness. I would like each of us here today to think about how difficult being forced to make that decision would be. Far too often, when confronted by the reality of domestic violence, we respond by saying, "Why didn't they just leave?" I am here to tell you that one of the many reasons people don't leave is that they don't have a place to go. By denying Safe Embrace their special use permit, we are causing an increased number of victim survivors, our constituents, our neighbors, our relatives, and ourselves, safety that we need to make that deadly calculus. I thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
And no one else has signed in.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So per our agenda, we will take a break until 11 and continue the rest of the agenda. But before we do, and for folks who tuned in a little later today, item 18, which is a public hearing, a continuance was requested by the appellant. And so we will respect that request, and the full hearing will be done in November. But we will open the public hearing for item 18 since it's on the agenda. So if you would like to speak during public comment during that time, you certainly can. So we will see everyone again at 11. Thank you. o'clock, and I will reconvene the Board of County Commissioners. And Mr. Manager, if you could lead us into item number 5.
Item 5 is Commissioners and County Managers' announcements, reports, and updates to include boards and commissions updates, requests for information or topics for future agendas.
Okay, looking to the board on if folks want to make any announcements or have comments for the manager. I'm not seeing any. Yes, Commissioner Clark.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I've got a few items I'd like to talk about. First one, I guess, with the chair's prerogative to change the agenda and move things around, I appreciate that. It would have been nice to get a heads up before 10:09 this morning that that particular agenda item had been removed or removed back. Just as a courtesy, item 18, would have been nice to know that.
I knew right before the meeting. I'm sorry. We're all on the same page on that.
I saw you in the hallway, so anyhow, again, just a heads up as a courtesy. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, as far as the off-site meeting that we're going to have next week, you know, we had a meeting after the first of the year at the fire board or the fire chief's station, and you know, it was a cramped quarters. There were lots of folks showing up about the marijuana facility and the use there. I just think it's inappropriate to have a county meeting at a smaller venue. I've been to the Sparks Library, and it's much smaller than this. I don't know the exact number of seats here. It's probably about 150 here. But I think that if we're going to have anything off-site, we should have a venue that's at least as large as this venue to accommodate the citizens. The whole point of having a public meeting is to have the public there. And if we have a smaller room, I mean, the size of a small library space that they have there, I don't think it accommodates and serves the public well. So I'd like that to be considered in the future if we're going to have anything off campus. CARES campus, I want to talk about that, and Miss Teresa Bacon. The lady came in, told her story, crying, and lo and behold, when it's investigated, nothing happened. You know, I've got to believe somebody who comes in here several times and says that they felt because they'd spoken about the CARES campus and the way she was treated, and then removed from the CARES campus. This is a working lady, working poor, working class person who's looking for a place to stay, goes to work, comes back and finds out they're not allowed to back on the campus. The county does an investigation, finds that the county, of course, has done nothing wrong. It's amazing how many times the county investigates itself and finds out that they've done nothing wrong. So again, I want to find out if we can get, maybe if we're going to hire a vendor to come in and coach us how to speak at a public meetings next week, maybe we should hire a vendor to investigate the county when these kind of things arise. You know, it's just ironic to me that the county rarely makes a mistake. I know I make mistakes all day, every day. I admit them, move on, try and do things better. But when you work with an organization that rarely makes a mistake, it's just hard for me to get my head around that. So is there any way we can have the county, when the county needs an investigator, to have somebody investigate besides county employees? Senior center, here's a case that I think finally the county might have admitted that they've done, somebody's done a little bit wrong. But I think the only reason that happened is because we had some video of that. So the senior center, we had the line dancers were interrupted. They got in some kind of a verbal altercation with staff. Able to see this on video. So there is an example of, it looks like somebody didn't do something right. So it's nice to see that addressed. I mean, this is all about transparency. All of these problems go away if there's transparency. Once people, the public, feel that they're being treated fairly, a lot of this tension dissipates. Food at the senior center. The food, I've posted some on my Facebook, I share pictures with anybody. I mean, this food that we're serving the seniors is absolutely unappealing, both through your taste buds and visually. We need to do something better for our seniors. There's no vegan options. There's no gluten-free options, is my understanding. We need to find a better way to feed our seniors. Last week, I went with some of the folks from the county, and we went down to Douglas County. Douglas County has a state-of-the-art kitchen. They prepare 300 meals a day. They serve the meals at the table to the seniors. Very appealing food, very high-quality food, and there's something to be learned from these surrounding counties. We need to, and I challenge each of the commissioners to take a little drive down to Douglas County, down to Gardnerville, and take a look at the senior center there. It's a smaller county. They have a smaller budget, but somehow or another they built a palace down there for the seniors. It's a community center. So it's shared with the seniors in the community center. It's as clean as can be. It's very welcoming. Exercise rooms, kitchen. They take care of folks with Alzheimer's there. They've got volunteers that take the Alzheimer's patients out for a walk, read them books, play games with them, play puzzles, whatever they're doing to help these folks stay engaged. It was fantastic to see that. And they also have a daycare center there. So, I mean, that would be something that would be helpful for our community as well. But a county that has a much smaller budget is doing a much better job than we are. They prioritize in these counties, Douglas County and also Carson City, they prioritize seniors in the community, whereas this county seems to have prioritized the homeless encampment. We spend a lot of money on the homeless. I'd just like to see some parity with the seniors. I'd like to see the seniors get some quality treatment as well. I think they've been overlooked in the past, and I'm here to make sure that we're here to try and serve one of the fastest growing populations in our county, the senior citizens. We need to make sure they're getting quality food, quality life entertainment, things that stimulate them, and so I challenge all the commissioners to take an opportunity to go to these Carson City and Douglas County and look and see what they're doing. Again, the investigations by the counties. By the county. I mean, if you look on the agenda, you see the treasurers pointed out where they've made some errors. At the assessor's office, when I was involved with the assessor's office, things fall through the cracks. Mistakes are made. You fix them. You announce them. You put them on the record, and you move forward. So there's nothing wrong with making mistakes. You know, you shouldn't make the same ones again and again and again. But that's how we learn. And when people claim that they don't make a mistake, well, that's probably a mistake right there. The women's violence that we've heard about this morning, I mean, this is disgusting, this type of behavior. And, you know, maybe the county needs to be looking at some type of a facility. When I hear about this, hear from the folks that the folks that work at this facility go home in the evening, who's there to protect the residents? So that's something that needs to be looked at. Mark Newman has made a donation or wants to make a donation to the county. He's got several hundred movies he wants to donate to the senior centers. I'd like to see that on the agenda so we can accept that.
I think we accepted that last meeting.
Did we?
Commissioner
Okay.
Clark.
Very good, thank you. I remember that. In fact, when I asked him the other day, he said
It's on today's.
Okay.
It's on today's
It's on
consent.
today. Very well. Thank you. All right. Also, I want to find out, since we have some sheriff's representatives here, how it exactly works if the sheriff is called in to investigate things in the other municipalities, as far as if we have to investigate something that takes place in Sparks or Reno. Do we get compensated for that? Do we get reimbursed? Do we bill these other municipalities? How does that, do we have anybody here that can answer that question today, or do we need to put that on the agenda for future?
Are you asking? I mean, I don't think that we should have the discussion today, certainly.
I just have a question. I just want to understand how that's happened. Is that possible to get an answer?
I'm sure that the sheriff's office can shoot an email. I don't think it's appropriate to have a discussion on it during commissioner comments.
All right. Very well. That's all I have for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Clark. Any other commissioners? Commissioner Garcia.
Just a quick update from the Washoe County Regional Animal Services Advisory Board. We meet again on Friday, and we continue to monitor our capacity challenges for both dogs and cats. I just want to remind everyone, I've spoken about this before, it's been an incredibly difficult year in this world. Adoptions have slowed, families are struggling and surrendering pets. We are in a really difficult place. If animals are not transferred from WCRAS, we unfortunately are forced to euthanize healthy, adoptable animals for space. And that's the reality, given the circumstances we're in. And so we need everybody to be informed and to be paying attention to this issue. This is a practice that our region hasn't done since 2008. And so we're going on 15 years. We don't want to do this, but we need everybody to kind of pitch in. So with that call to action today, please, if you're not already following the Washoe County Regional Animal Services Facebook page, they have many, many followers on that already, and it's a really great place to get timely updates about capacity issues and upcoming events for adoptions and other important partnerships that we have here regionally.
Thank you very much. Any other commissioners have comments? I'm not seeing that there are. I have just a few. To reiterate for folks who didn't tune in earlier, our public hearing for item 18, the appeal of safe embrace rejection, that will be heard November 20. Oh my gosh, let's just make sure I'm telling you the right date. November 28th. And it will not be heard today. However, we will open up the public hearing if folks want to speak to us during public comments. Since it is agendized, we certainly will. So we're going to continue that item. And then I just want to congratulate the staff of Washoe County. The American Planning Association gave our staff the award for Outstanding Cultural and Environmental Plan for the Washoe County Green Recovery Plan. And the staff received that last night, and we had a consultant that helped us on that plan. Her name is Lynn Barker, a dear friend of mine who passed away on Saturday. And so I think it's just very special that we were able to receive that award, and that we can celebrate Lynn and all her work in conservation and sustainability in this community. And then I did want to also, Ms. Neff, during her public comment, spoke to what is Washoe County doing on the rest of the Washoe Tahoe Transportation Plan. And I wanted to let Incline Village residents know and the community know that I have a meeting coming up here with the NDOT director as well as Secretary of State Aguilar to discuss how we can move forward many of those immediate needs for Incline Village on Highway 28. So I'll be keeping the community updated, but it's definitely a priority of mine. All right. With that, any other commissioner comments? If not, Mr. Manager, do you have anything for us? I do not, Madam Chair. Okay. Well, then we will go into item 6, Mr. Manager.
Item 6 is a presentation and update on FY 23-24 first quarter status report for the Washoe County Regional Detention Facility, to include security of the jail, conditions of confinement, staffing, and medical care of inmates housed at the Washoe County Sheriff's Office.
Welcome.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, I have the honor today of presenting on behalf of the Washoe County Sheriff's Office. I'm Captain Andrew Venn. I'm currently the Detention Operations Captain at the jail. In respect to the board's time, we're going to try a new format. You have the full presentation of numbers which are pretty consistent in the world of corrections. I'm going to highlight a few of the numbers that are of interest, and then we're going to present a feature of our jail that you may not be aware of, both for your edification and for that of the public, to kind of highlight where our money is going to and what services we're providing in our community.
Thank you.
During the first quarter, we had 46 active cases of COVID within our facility. As of this morning, we have 13, so we were able to contain using isolation techniques while providing full rights and privileges to those inmates. During the quarter, we had 200 averted suicide attempts. Those are those both active and reported. They're asking for help. Our average daily population over this quarter was 1,224. The average length of stay was 17 days, which is consistent with the prior quarter. Fentanyl continues to be an issue. We had 9 suspected overdoses in our facility during this quarter. We had 18 inmates graduate the Getting Ahead While Getting Out in June. And Madam Chair, you were there for that, and we appreciate that. And the inmates asked to pass along that they appreciated your presence and support of this fantastic program run by Chaplain Sharp up at our facility. And the invitation is standing to all the commissioners. If you'd like to come and experience the graduation, we would love to have you and show off our programs and what we have to offer. With that, I want to introduce Maggie Dixon, who is our MAT clinician. She'll explain what that is when she comes up. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, Ms. Dixon.
Thank you. Thank you, Captain Ben. Good morning. My name is Maggie Dixon. I am a duly licensed clinician. I treat both mental health disorders and substance use disorders. I run the medication-assisted treatment program that we have up at the jail. Medication-assisted treatment is designed to help opioid use disorder and alcohol use disorder by the use of medications combined with behavioral therapy. We started our program in fall of 2019 after we became the first jail in the state of Nevada to have a licensed opioid treatment program. The goal of MAT is to stabilize patients utilizing medications so that they can fully engage in behavioral counseling and address the underlying issues of why they use. Our team is made up of a multidisciplinary folks from NAVCare, our current medical provider up at the jail, and myself. We have weekly team meetings, both with the district court, MAC court, specialty court, and Northern Nevada Hopes. We currently staff patients discussing treatment plans, discharging plans, and any court updates that they may have. We also discuss any facility behavior issues with our participants. And then if one of our participants is sentenced to prison, we also discuss their tapering or discontinuation of the medication, because currently the Nevada Department of Corrections do not have MAT services in their prisons or in their facilities. Those that come in that are currently on a community program are continued after we verify with the program about their status, the medication that they're on, and the dose that they have. They are required to go to weekly, sorry, I'm a little bit nervous. They're required to go to weekly group sessions on substance using, and then they meet with me at least once per month for individual counseling. We also make available people who are not currently on treatment. When they come in and they stay with us, they can apply to get on our treatment program. Our current data on our program illustrates the number of male participants to female participants and reflects really what we currently have in the facility. So 2/3 male, 1/3 female, that's pretty proportionate to our program as well. As far as race and ethnicity, our participants are it's really reflective of what makes up our citizens in Washoe County. You'll notice that white, non-Hispanic is predominant. However, the program is open to all ages, race, and participation. Between 2019 and 2022, we had 86 individuals that were started from in custody onto our MAT treatment services. Within 1 year, only 30 recidivated, which gives us approximately 35% recidivism rate. During that same period of time, we had 419 individuals come in already on services from the community. Out of those 419, only 146 recidivated within 1 year. Since the inception of the MAP program from fall of 2019, we've provided services for over 570 participants. 205 of those were repeat participants. That puts us at a recidivism rate of approximately 36%. The national average is 44% across the nation. So we are well below the national recidivism rate for folks who are on treatment coming back in. Our program also supplies Narcan kits for those who are identified with opiate use disorder from intake. This is obtained by urinary drug screens when they first come in. If they're positive for any type of opiate, being heroin, fentanyl, we tag them so that when they get released from this facility, they have the opportunity to take Narcan kits free of charge, and it is anonymous. So far for our accomplishments, as I said in the beginning, we are the only sheriff's office, jail, detention facility in the state of Nevada to offer medication-assisted treatment services. In January of 2021, we established collaboration with Second Judicial District Court specialty courts, and they are also in our weekly meeting. I know I mentioned that earlier. In 2021, we also established communication with Nevada Department of Corrections. That was to try to get them to look at a possible MAT expansion into their facilities so that we didn't have to take anybody off of treatment when they got sentenced to prison. In March of 2023, we made our first step towards that endeavor and sent our first patient down to the Florence McClure Women's Detention Center in Las Vegas on MAT treatment, and she is continuing MAT treatment today, and she's doing very well. In April of 2023, this year, we were the winner of the 2022 Washoe Impact Award for Effective Communication. And we also, our team presented in Atlanta, Georgia at the 2023 RX Summit for, basically it's the nationwide summit for substance use disorders. It includes law enforcement endeavors. It's a multidisciplinary convention that brings together all of the teams, updates us on current evidence-based treatment, training, and things like that. We also have an application in to present on a breakout session, they call them, for 2024. We continue to expand collaboration. Just a couple weeks ago, I met with groups Recover Together. They are currently working with Department of Alternative Sentencing here in Reno and Sparks. They do have places all over the nation. What the difference between regular treatment and this treatment is, it is outpatient treatment, but it's all online. It's all through your phone, through an app, and this tends to gravitate towards the younger generations. Whereas we like to do it face-to-face, they really gravitate towards online app, and it follows them. It reports to the providers their participation, and if it starts going down, then they meet with the providers every week. We also have this year Assembly Bill 156 that was introduced and is currently in the data collection phase and needs assessment phase across the state. This bill basically will mandate substance use disorder treatment in the jails and prisons throughout the state. Once this goes into effect in the next couple of years, our MAP program will expand exponentially. Planning for the future. What I'd like to see, and what I'm working with the executive staff on, is providing a specific housing unit dedicated to treatment. What this does is it offers them support services 24/7. We'll have clinicians and peer support in the unit every day. And it gives them a structured therapy community. It basically improves the outcome of their treatment services. We're also working hard with Join Together Northern Nevada to create a peer support system. Once peers are vetted through our background process, we hope to bring them in and establish rapport and services so that when people on treatment get out of custody, they'll continue that support into the community. Lastly, I'm hoping to make our facility a supervision site through the Alcohol and Drug Board. This will enable us to bring in master level practicum students and also licensed interns. This will give us our underserved population resources and counseling services at a lower cost, but also expose clinicians who are not used to that environment. Thank you, sorry. Lastly, programs offered at the detention facility, such as medication-assisted treatment, are made possible by the support of the citizens of Washoe County and through you, the Board of County Commissioners. With continued support, the program will continue to grow, offering increased efforts to help our population transition back into the community with resources and support to be successful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I have to tell the commissioners, Ms. Dixon, you are a superstar in this community. When I have been able to attend the substance abuse task force meetings that Washoe County pulls together, you are an expert. Everyone looks to you, and I feel so fortunate that you're working so hard in our jail. So thank you for, and then your vision for the program, very impressive. So looking to the commissioners, any comments or questions? Commissioner Andriola.
I wanted to thank you. Reading all of the information and seeing the recidivism that you stated at 36 compared to national average of 44 in and of itself is something to celebrate.
Thank you.
But having said that, the fact that it is hopefully going to be passed at the next legislative session to really have it be mandated throughout the state to deal with the opioid crisis and the impact, if you will, of fentanyl and overdoses, and really look at what you've created should just be, I guess, she said you're a rock star. I'll say you're a rock star too.
Thank you.
Because I'm not sure, where you essentially got this information and this vision, but it's certainly paid off, and you've changed lives, and you all should know how appreciative we all are of really making an impact to truly changing someone's life. And I think that your dedication and the support of the sheriff and everyone has really nothing but huge accolades, and our state is better for it. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Commissioner Garcia.
Just quickly to echo my fellow colleagues here, to be the only jail in Nevada, you said, that offers MAP.
Yes, ma'am.
We're a leader in the state, which is incredible. And then not only that, it's one thing to offer services to the folks we have in our care, in our custody, but for you to think outside the box and to look at the alignment with other facilities throughout the transfer process is an incredible vision, like Chair Hill said. And, to help and build up and strengthen the provider pipeline is also another layer that's very, very exciting and music to our ears because we are struggling throughout the state of Nevada. So very, very impressed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Vice Chair Herman, do you have anything?
Just a great big thank you to all of you that are here, because we sure need you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And seeing no other comments, thank you, Captain Venn, and thank you so much, Ms. Dixon, and to the team. And we appreciate your hard work, and we'll continue to support and see how we can get folks on the right path. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We will now go to item 7, a proclamation, Mr. Manager, and Commissioner Andriola will actually be reading this today and presenting it.
All right, item 7 is a proclamation to proclaim the month of October 2023 as National Community Planning Month.
And if the planners can come down.
You ready? Board of County Commissioners Proclamation. Whereas community planning and land use plans can help manage change, which is constant and affects all cities, counties, townships, rural areas, and other places in a way that provides better choices for how people live, work, and play. And whereas the full benefits of land use planning require public officials and citizens who understand support and demand excellence in planning and plan implementation. And whereas the celebration of National Community Planning Month gives the Washoe County Board of County Commissioners the opportunity to publicly recognize the participation and dedication of the members of the Washoe County Planning Commission, the Washoe County Board of Adjustment, the Washoe County Parcel Map Review Committee, citizen advisory boards, and other citizen planners who have contributed their time and expertise to the improvement of Washoe County's Master Plan and Development Code. And whereas the Washoe County Board of County Commissioners recognize the many valuable contributions made by the professional planning and support staff of the Planning and Building Division of Washoe County Community Services Department and recognize their continued commitment to public service. Now, therefore, the Washoe County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim the month of October 2023 as National Community Planning Month.
Yay, let's hear it for our planners. And I know Commissioner Andriola served on the Planning Commission for the City of Sparks. Do you have anything to say before you turn it over to the team?
Well, certainly, obviously, planning is really important in every aspect of what we do. Having smart plan growth really makes a difference for everyone. It's an honor to recognize the hard work of Washoe County and all the planning citizens throughout our entire community. We're blessed to have such a wonderful place to live, and to see it grow and prosper is just equally wonderful. So thanks.
Absolutely. Do you have anything to say? Come on up.
Absolutely. We just want to tell you all how grateful we are.
And this is Mr. Lloyd.
Oh, I'm
sorry for the
Trevor
record.
Lloyd with Planning
You're
Manager,
fine.
Planning and Building. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Yes, we are grateful for the board in recognizing planning and the profound impact it can have on a community. I feel that the timing is perfect as we are just wrapping up our Envision Washoe 2040 program. And we have great staff that have dedicated so much time to that project. And again, we're grateful that you're recognizing community planning through this proclamation. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to take a quick break and take a picture. And yes, I want to hear
I'm Julia
Ms.
Lander, and
Olander.
I'm a planner. I just wanted to acknowledge Sarah Savilicek, who got named, honored last night at the APA conference up at the lake for the state of Nevada as a citizen planner from the state of Nevada. So it was a great
Wow.
honor for us to have Sarah honored in that way and acknowledged for all that she does throughout the state of Nevada. So it wasn't just...
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it was really
I
great.
should have announced that as well.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know if you got in that loop, but anyway,
That's
I
so
wanted to give her-
great.
Yeah, she's done a great job for Washoe County and just the community in general. So
Absolutely.
wanted to give a shout out to Sarah. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Congratulations, Sarah. We'll take a quick break and take a picture.
Yes.
Commissioner Andriola, was that in the form of a motion? Yes. Thank you. Is there a second? Vice Chair Herman?
Yes, second.
Okay, and I see we have one public commenter, and we will bring them up before we vote. Penny Brock?
Penny Brock, for the record, please put my comments in the record per NRS. While it's great to recognize planning, no one's against planning, it's very important for a community. But I'm wondering why we're ignoring Nevada Day, the day that Nevada became a state. We live in a great country. We should take every opportunity we can to recognize how fortunate we are to live in America and to have become, I think we were the 36th state. Abraham Lincoln gave us our statehood, not because we had the population required, but because of our mining at Virginia City. We've basically financed the North, and the North won the freedom for the slaves. So Nevada is very important for freedom. So I just wanted to go on the record that we as Nevadans are proud of our statehood, and it should never be overlooked. Perhaps next week at the county meeting, whatever you're calling it, you can do something as the board on the dais to formally recognize our Nevada Day and our statehood. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? No, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Andriola, second by Vice Chair Herman. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. And that motion passes. Okay, we will now move to donations. Commissioner Garcia, if you could help us read those into the record.
Madam Chair, I would like to thank the Vera Silverstein Gift Trust for its generous donations throughout the years to support the preservation, public access, and education of Bowers Mansion, and to Mr. Newman's donation to HSA and for his volunteerism and service. With that, I move to accept both those donations outlined in the staff report.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. Is there a second? Thank you, Commissioner Andriola. Madam Clerk, any public comment? There is none. Okay. With that, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. Okay. And that motion passes unanimously. We will now move to our consent items, item number 9, and looking to commissioners if there's any questions or comments on the consent items. And I'm not seeing any. So I am looking, or we do have, it does look like we do have public comment. So Madam Clerk, if you could call public comment.
Penny Brock.
Penny Brock for the record. I'd like to address item 9D1. You're going to automatically reappoint certain people to the Senior Services Advisory Board. I'm not opposed to that, but I would ask that perhaps District 2 can be opened for appointments. This is our right as citizens to have an opportunity to apply to the boards. So I don't know if it's possible, but to ask that District 2 be reopened for reappointments. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any other public comment, Madam Clerk?
No one else has signed in.
Okay. With no other public comment, any other commissioner comments? Commissioner Clark?
Thank you, Madam Chair. On item 9D1, I'd like to point out that I don't believe that Charles Mark Newman served a full term, and certainly Denise Myers did not serve a full term. By the time she was appointed, I think she was maybe had 3 months. As far as Thuy Tran, she's done a great job, so I recommend that these folks be reappointed. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Clark. Any other commissioners? All right, I am looking for a motion on the consent.
So move.
Okay, I'm going to choose Commissioner Andriola and a second by Commissioner Garcia. Any questions on the motion on consent? I'm seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. Okay, and that motion passes. I am now looking to Vice Chair Herman to see if you have a block for the board.
That light, I could hardly tell. So,
I know it's so
thank you,
annoying.
Madam Chair.
Absolutely.
And so the first comment I'm going to have is one in the block vote, but I think the library board really, you know, it's a big stretch because it has to be reported if it's 300,000 and we're at 12 million. So just watch it. Anyhow, so that would be 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 17.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Looking for a second?
Second.
Okay. Commissioner Garcia, thank you. And then I look to Madam Clerk. Do we have public comment?
We do. Penny Brock is here for several of those items, 10, 12, 13, and 14.
Penny Brock for the record. I'm not sure what I can address. According to Mr. Schmidt last time, anything that's going to be put in a block that we do have, the public has a right to address each agenda item. So could someone please advise me how this works? Can I speak to each issue? Do I only have 3 minutes? I need some clarification. I ask the clock be stopped, please, because
Can we just pause it for a second? So, look, we have no, oh, there's the DA.
Yes, you get one period of public comment for the entire block. You can speak on any item in the block during that period. It's the same with consent, but the agenda spells it out on the front page that it is per block, and you can speak on any of those items.
Thank you, DA Edwards. So
Okay, could you just give me a minute, please, since I can only speak to one of these several?
you can speak to all of them. You can speak during your 3 minutes, and I'm happy to give you back your 30 seconds since you
thank
were
you.
asking a question, and
Okay.
I'm happy to,
Right, okay,
you can speak to all the things you signed in for.
Okay, on agenda item number 12, 300,000 for contracts. It's only been the first quarter. This started in July, and already they're back asking for more money. Something is wrong. They're not managing their money. And I don't think the commission should approve that one because we as the taxpayers, we have to live within our budget. They're only the first quarter out. The next thing is item 13, give money to the school district for kids in foster care. They're already getting $1.4 billion for 61,000 students. I don't know why we have to give them more of our tax money. Of course, item 14, the TB clinic. It's interesting if you look at one of the staff reports is the clinic is only going to be about $1.5 million. The balance is going to go for staff and et cetera, et cetera. I can see maybe the $1.5 million to build the clinic, but what's all that additional fluff for? So I don't know if that can somehow be pulled out. Item 15 is the CPACE program. The county is becoming a lender to commercial buildings.
We are actually going to hear that item, so you can speak to that item when we hear
good.
that.
I'm sorry, I guess that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brock. Any other public commenters?
We have one email that will be placed on record.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So we have a motion and a second. Any questions on the motion by the board? Yes, Commissioner Garcia.
Just a quick statement on item number 13. In the interest of transparency, I'd like to briefly state that I am no longer employed by the Washoe County School District, and my employment ended in June of this year.
Thank you so much. All right. With that, all those in favor of the block vote, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. And the motion passes. Thank you very much. We'll now move to item 15.
Item 15 is a recommendation to approve pursuant to NRS 271.6312, a resolution for the creation and administration of a district which shall constitute the entire jurisdictional boundaries of the county with the purpose of allowing the financing of one or more qualifying improvement districts with willing owners of qualifying commercial or industrial real property, and a program generally known as Commercial Property Assessed Clean Energy Program, or CPACE program, and to establish an administrative fee to be charged to cover the actual cost of reviewing applications.
Welcome. Please state your name for the record.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, Manager Brown, Commissioners. My name is Brian Befford. I am Washoe County Sustainability Manager, coming to you with a proposal that we adopt a CPACE program here in Washoe County. What is CPACE, you might ask? Let's dive in and find out. Commercial Property Assessed Clean Energy is a financing structure that allows commercial building owners to borrow money from third-party lenders, no Washoe County money involved in those transactions, for energy efficiency, renewable energy, resiliency, water conservation, and other technologies. CPACE has been adopted by more than 37 states nationwide, and as of 2021, more than 3,000 commercial buildings have been upgraded, with $5.2 billion financed and over 65,000 job years created. CPACE was enacted here in Nevada by the Nevada legislature in 2017 and revised again in 2021. To date, in Nevada, 8 counties and cities have adopted CPACE resolutions, with 4 projects totaling $38 million of investments. As an aside, I've heard that in previous years, CPACE has not been very popular nationwide, but now that federal interest rates are climbing, CPACE is becoming more attractive and is attracting more attention. And to be clear, CPACE is for commercial properties only. So this is, Nevada has not yet passed a residential PACE program. CPACE, as I mentioned, CPACE works by third-party lenders, and the debt is attached to a lien on the property and stays with the property as sold. The nature of this collateral with the longer loan period means lower risk to lenders and often means lower interest rates as a result. The role that Washoe County would play is our staff would review contracts, record and assign assessment liens, but there would be no billing, no collections, or enforcement required from Washoe County. NRS allows the county to enact an administrative fee, to charge an administrative fee for staff time. Nationally, rates are from 2.5% to 3% of the amount financed. We're recommending an amount somewhere in the middle there, 2.75%. The benefits of CPACE are many. In January, the board directed staff to find ways to reduce greenhouse gas emissions across the county. This is one of the easiest ways we can do that by attracting this private investment, and this can help alleviate emissions from our commercial and industrial sectors, which comprise about 26% of emissions here in Washoe County. The result is cleaner air, more stable and reliable energy costs, and increased grid and community resilience. I want to point out that well-paced CPACE loans do not result in higher costs for borrowers. CPACE projects and the debt is set up after an energy audit is conducted that makes sure that the value of the improvements exceeds the value of the debt, and this reduces energy and operating costs, increases building comfort, increases net operating income, and increases property values with no upfront costs. Many of the programs that we hear about in terms of greenhouse gas reduction or climate action are funded by the federal government, funded by taxpayers. This program is different because it incentivizes private investment in greenhouse gas reduction technologies. So we're talking about increased economic activity and more jobs, something that we would love to see here in this region. As I mentioned before, there is low risk to Washoe County, no billing, no collections, no enforcement. And the program that we propose would be consistent with most other CPACE programs in Nevada, creating a uniform borrower and lender experience. Many different types of projects are eligible. So energy efficiency improvements such as heat pumps, LED conversions, renewable energy improvements such as solar and battery storage, projects that can improve building resiliency in the face of seismic events, electrical outages, and other environmental hazards. And down in southern Nevada, water efficiency upgrades are very popular. One project of note as an example of a CPACE project here in Nevada is the English Hotel. If you ever have time, Google the English Hotel, look at the photos. It's gorgeous. I wish we had a property like that here in the north. They use CPACE financing to improve energy efficiency with heat pumps, add LED lighting outside and inside to increase the insulation value of their roof and building, and to add water conservation and efficiency. Ultimately, sustainability programs need to be evaluated by how well they deliver triple bottom line benefits to people, our economy, and our environment. CPACE promises to do all three, thus our recommendation for your support. I think that's it, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much. I'm looking to the board to see if there's any questions. I'm not seeing any questions. I just commend the team for pulling this all together, and the county manager. Anything that Washoe County can do to incentivize sustainable development in our county is a big deal. So congratulations. I just have one question. How will we promote this? Is there going to be a web page for developers? Are planners going to get some education on this to ensure that they can let folks know about this program? How are we going to push this forward if it's approved today?
Yes, thank you. Madam Chair, for the record, Brian Beffert, Sustainability Manager. And if your question did not just disappear out of my brain, I will try to answer it. So we have, the program will be based in our Community Services Department. And I mentioned the consistency of experience for borrowers and lenders. We propose that we work with SRS, Sustainable Real Estate Solutions, which is the company that provides CPACE administration for 7 of the 8 jurisdictions here in Nevada. And they have all of the forms that I think you have as attachments, as well as a template website that will be branded for Washoe County. And so we'll have these set up, and we'll work with planners and others in the county to let developers know that these opportunities are available.
Great, thank you so much. Well, if there's no other commissioner comments or questions, we will move to public comment. Oh, Commissioner Clark.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. What was the name of the company that you said that is administering this program in the other counties, the other 8 counties? You mentioned a company name.
Yes, Madam Chair, through you to the Commissioner, Brian Beffert, Sustainability Manager. SRS, Sustainable Real Estate Solutions, I think, is the name of the company. They are based in Connecticut. We were hoping to work with someone local, but there are no locally based CPACE administrators.
So, follow-up question. SRS, is this the only company in America doing this? Is there any competitors? Do they have a monopoly on this, I guess is my question.
Madam Chair, through you to the Commissioner, Brian Beffert, Sustainability Manager. There are other companies. I know of at least one other provider, but I think this is a pretty specific field of finance. And if you ask any deeper questions on that, I'd like to bring up our Chief Financial Officer to help answer these questions.
I have other questions, please. Sure.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, Commissioner.
Sure. So again, you know, I'm just, I'm always concerned if it appears that there's a monopoly. And in this case, do borrowers, are they going to have a choice? Do they have to use this particular company? Do we have a contract? How long is the contract? What kind of oversight? What type of reputation, what type of rating does this company have? What do we know about SRS?
Thank you, Madam Chair, through you to the Commissioner, Abby Jacobin, Chief Financial Officer for the county. SRS is, as Mr. Beffert said, administering 7 of the 8 other communities in Nevada, and we weighed that with going out to do an RFP, getting a separate company, getting a separate look, and having an inconsistent look statewide for if an entity came to us wanting a CPACE financing, having done it in Southern Nevada or one of the other Northern Nevada jurisdictions, having an inconsistent experience. I do believe there's a variety of lenders that they can use, but for administration purposes, for ease of use of the website, consistency among the state, we are proposing to do a joinder with the City of Las Vegas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did you get your name for the record? Just real quick.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, Abby Jacobin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other commissioner questions or comments? I'm not seeing any, so we will bring up public comment. Madam Clerk.
Barry Levinson. I'm not seeing Barry Levinson. Penny Brock.
Penny Brock, for the record, please put my comments in the record per NRS. On this, I did a little bit of research. Out of Berkeley, who are they? Berkeley Environmental Law did a paper concerning this. They found there were some real problems with it. This did apply to the residential PACE, but my question is, can this also be applied to the commercial sector? The other thing is America is founded on free enterprise. This is not an area that Washoe County government should be involved in. If a commercial entity wants a loan, they should go into the private sector to do this. We should not be having to spend our taxpayer money to have staff involved in this at all. I don't understand it. If SRS wants to find applicants, they should use the private sector to do it, just like any loan company has to do. I don't understand why Washoe County is getting involved in this, why you're going to have staff take care of this, even though you say, well, it's going to be a 2.75 fee. Why should you even throw that in to the mix of this? This is not anything that government should be involved in. You keep bringing to we, the taxpayer, more and more of the green energy agenda. You're sliding it in under cover. We don't even know how much we, the taxpayer, are paying in Washoe County for the supposed climate crisis. The reading I'm doing, there is not a climate crisis. This has been fabricated. And it would behoove Washoe County to be transparent with we, the taxpayer. How much are we paying out of our tax dollars? And that includes staff that works on this supposed green energy climate crisis. How do you know the Washoe taxpayers even want this? So I know you're going to approve this, but I just wanted to go on record that questions have been raised by we, the taxpayer, about this program. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nick Vanderpool. Not seeing that person here. We do have one email to be placed on the record as well.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And I'm just, for the record, this is a property assessment. There's no taxpayer money that will go towards this program. This is something that will just be done administratively through the recorder and the assessor's office. So I just want to make that clear to the board. Any other Board of County Commissioner questions or comments? I'm not seeing any. Okay. With that, I am looking for a motion. All right, I'm happy to make the motion for item 15. Is there a second? Thank you, Commissioner Andriola. Any questions on the motion? All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say nay.
Nay.
And that, I think, was a tie. So I look to, well, let's just make
Didn't
sure.
see a vote for Garcia?
Oh, she just came in. So we just voted on item 15. Okay. Thank you. All right. That motion does pass 3-2. Thank you very much. We will now move to our public hearing item 18. Mr. Manager.
Madam Chair, did we skip 16?
Oh, my gosh. Thank you so much. All right. I got excited. We will now move to item 16, the Mr. Manager.
Okay, recommendation to appoint 2 candidates from a pool of applicants, including John Bourne, John Briscoe, Linnell Carter, Roger Edwards, Denise Jones, Eugenia Larmore, Darren McDonald, Daniela Reynolds, Joe Rodriguez, Gerald Shoemaker, Brad Snedeker, Celia Suhada, Tracy Thomas, Charles Wellington II to fill 2 vacancies on the Washoe County Board of Equalization with terms beginning on January 1, 2024 and ending on January 30th, 2027.
Welcome.
Hi there, Alexandra Wilson for the record on the commission support team. So you'll notice a couple changes from the original item on once you receive your ballot. Joe Rodriguez's name has been removed as he has requested to withdraw his application from the Board of Equalization. You'll also note on your ballot sheets that Eugenia Larimore and Darren McDonald are potentially reappointments if those individuals are selected. There was some miscommunication with staff, as usually those are separated out, but you are allowed to do both at this time if that's, the desire of the board.
Okay. And you want us to do the top
three candidates.
Three. Thank
Yes.
you very much.
Thank you.
Any questions from the board on that process? Seeing none, public comment. Madam Clerk.
Daniela Reynolds.
Just in the interest of time, I spoke
Oh, you still have to come down.
Daniela Reynolds for the record. I did speak earlier in public comment, so I will give some time back to the board.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bill Sims.
Morning, Commissioners. I know this doesn't really have anything to do with me, but I just wanted to come up to give my opinion on Daniela being on this board, because I think she is someone who is very smart, intelligent. She is someone that is really wanting to do this for Washoe County, to help you guys out, to bring a point of view that I think she would be really good at, given her past experience with her job and everything. And I hope that you guys will really consider her for this board, because she would be an excellent pick for it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And no one else has signed in.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, then we will do the ballot process.
Do we have commissioner comment?
We certainly can have commissioner comments.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. I think this is a very, very, very important board to sit on. As a former assessor here, an assessment is an appraisal. An appraisal is someone's opinion at a certain point in time. We look back in some of the largest, if not the largest, refund in the county's history was based on appraisal issues. Incline Village, several different cases could have totaled up to interest of approximately $50 million. So I think it's very, very important that we get the right people on this board, people who understand what's really taking place. The appraiser needs, as a former appraiser, former assessor, the assessor's office needs somebody to check their work. And so that's what this board is about. As the former assessor, I saw people sitting on this board who really didn't understand what they were doing here and didn't understand Nevada tax code and the methodology. So I think it's so important that we get the right people. This isn't picking somebody's friend. This is picking somebody who knows what's taking place. I'll tell you, on this list of folks, Eugenia Larimore was probably one of the best people that we ever had sit on the board. She understood what's taking place and really understands it. So that's somebody I'm going to be supporting. And then somebody with a construction background, somebody who's sat on other boards. This is the real court of holding the assessor's office to accountability to make sure that they don't get off the rails. And believe me, it doesn't happen all the time, but mistakes are made. And so this board kind of oversees the assessment value. And half of the taxes from this county come from property tax. We need the public needs to have an understanding that they're going to be treated fairly in this particular tribunal. So I hope that my fellow commissioners take this these appointments to heart. This should be nonpartisan. This should be people who understand what's taking place and make sure that the taxpayers are treated fairly. Thank you.
Commissioner Andriola.
I really agree that every board deserves the best qualified candidate to achieve the goal that they're going to be, providing their time and talent and expertise. Having called and spoke with everyone or, attempted leaving messages, but certainly reaching out. The fact that Nevada is the only state that assesses its property tax the way we do, really does create a unique skill set. And so I couldn't agree more that many of these folks were very talented, and it's great to see the continued efforts. So thank you to the county manager and to Alexandra Wilson for continuing to really get the word out so that we have a large pool of qualified applicants, which makes the selection tough. But I do appreciate the expertise that many of these applicants brought and the importance to every board, not only this one as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're handing in the ballots here.
Okay, I'll read the selections.
Okay.
For Commissioner Chair Alexis Hill, we have Eugenia Larmore, Darren McDonald, and Daniela Reynolds. Vice Chair Jeannie Herman selected John Boren, John Briscoe, and Roger Edwards. Commissioner Garcia selected Denise Jones, Eugenia Larmore, and Darren McDonald. Commissioner Andriola selected John Briscoe, Denise Jones, Eugenia Larmore. And Commissioner Clark selected Roger Edwards, Eugenia Larmore, and Daniela Reynolds.
Okay, it looks like Ms. Larmore received 3 votes, and then it looks like Jones and Reynolds tied. Am I correct in that, with 2 votes each, or did I do that wrong?
I show, Alexandra Wilson for the record, I show Eugenia Larimore having received, I believe, 4 votes.
4 votes, okay.
From Commissioner Hill, Clark, Garcia, and Andriola.
Thank you.
And then the second person to receive the most votes, I have Roger Edwards for Clark, Andriola, and Herman.
No, Commissioner Andriola did not vote for
I put
Mr.
that on the
Edwards.
wrong one then, I'm sorry.
I've got 2 votes for Jones, Reynolds, and Edwards, but maybe. And McDonald?
And McDonald.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so we have a 4-way tie.
Yep.
For Jones, McDonald, Reynolds, and Edwards. Okay, so we will do another ballot, and choose from those 4 candidates, please. You have a choice between Jones, McDonald, Reynolds, and Edwards, and we only choose one, correct? Ms. Wilson?
Yes, you can choose
Thank
your
you.
top one candidate.
One from one of those.
Single candidate.
Thank you.
Okay, for Chair Hill, we have Darren McDonald. For Vice Chair Herman, Roger Edwards. For Commissioner Clark, Roger Edwards. Commissioner Andriola, Denise Jones. Commissioner Garcia, Darren McDonald.
So now we have a two-way tie between McDonald and Edwards. So we will do one last ballot to choose between those two candidates, please. McDonald and Edwards are your choices on this ballot.
Okay, for Chair Hill, we have Darren McDonald. Commissioner Clark chose Roger Edwards. Commissioner Andriola selected Darren McDonald. Commissioner Garcia chose Darren McDonald. And Vice Chair Herman chose Roger Edwards.
Okay, well, congratulations to Ms. Larmore and Mr. McDonald. If commissioners want to speak on the record, they certainly can, but I am looking for a motion.
So move.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. Is there a second? Thank you. So we have a motion by Commissioner Garcia and a second by Commissioner Andriola for Larimore and McDonald. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. Thank you very much. Okay, now we will be moving to item 18. Mr. Manager.
The public hearing. Item 18 is a public hearing appeal of the Washoe County Board of Adjustments' inability to approve special use permit case number WSUP 22-0019, Safe Embrace. The applicant requests approval of a special use permit to allow a group care facility for up to 25 occupants if connected to city sewer, or up to 18 occupants if utilizing the existing septic system. The regulatory zone of the parcel is low-density suburban, and a special use permit is required per Washoe County Code Table 110.302.05.2. The proposal also requests to modify the parking requirements in Washoe County Development Code, Article 410, by not requiring any additional paved parking spaces or additional lighting in the parking area. The applicant and property owner is Safe Embrace. The address is 1995 Ponderosa Drive in Sparks. The assessor's parcel number is 026-422-14. The Board of County Commissioners shall consider the appeal based on the record and testimony and materials submitted at the public hearing. The Board of County Commissioners may approve or deny the special use permit.
Thank you very much. And per the DA's recommendation, even though item 18 is going to be continued to November 28th, we will open the public comment portion of this hearing for folks who are here because it was on the agenda, but we will not be deliberating on this item today. Correct, DA Edwards?
That is correct.
Okay, I will open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, could you please call public comment?
Nora Constantina.
Hi again, Nora Constantino. I'm a resident of Washoe County. I just want to make it clear, we're not opposed to Safe Embrace. We believe in the mission of Safe Embrace, the need for domestic violence and sexual assault care for individuals, not only in Washoe County, but in the state and the U.S. It's about the expansion of that site. It's beyond the pale what it has already done to that street, and it should not be approved. It is ruining the value of those houses, and it puts
everyone on the street at risk. And to me, that's what's most important, is the safety of everyone. All people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Bill Sims.
Good morning, Commissioners. I just wanted to get up to just say real quick that I know you guys have another month to think about this and everything, but I really do hope that you guys do approve this measure, because to me, from what I've been hearing today, it just kind of seems like, as I see it personally, people are essentially victim blaming these domestic abuse survivors for where they need to go in this particular neighborhood. In a perfect world, it wouldn't be needed at all, but because it is needed, to me, it just kind of sounds like anyone opposed to it is saying, I just want to kick that can down the road. It's okay that you get those services, I just don't want to see you receiving them because of the situation that you've been through. So honestly, again, in a perfect world, it wouldn't be needed at all, because something like this would never happen. But to essentially just say, I don't want this in my neighborhood because of what you went through, just seems kind of redundant to me, to say you want them to receive the services that they need in order to get back on their feet. You just don't want to see it in your neighborhood because you're too damn comfortable with not seeing things of life. And yes, I know just for it, I won't do it again, but look, that's just the way I talk. So I do hope that you guys will approve this measure, because those people need help. And again, I know people just want to be comfortable in their neighborhoods, but the fact is try to think of how those survivors are feeling. They're not comfortable with the situation they're in, and they shouldn't be ignored to make other people feel comfortable about not seeing what the real world is. So, thank you.
Thank you. Just as a reminder, no profanities during public comment. Go ahead, Madam Clerk.
Elizabeth Abdur Rahim. I don't think she's in the chambers, and no one else has signed in.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, we'll have you right up. Come on down. And if you'll just state your name for the record and check in with the clerk afterwards.
Katie Nepper speaking for Alfred Nepper. All cities and counties have codes and zoning to protect the integrity of neighborhoods. Neighborhoods have deed restrictions in place for the same purpose. The city of Sparks let Safe Embrace down when they improved their expansion when they could not legally do so. They should take the blame and offer the solution. It is time Safe Embrace realizes and respects all this instead of disparaging every resident homeowner on Ponderosa Drive. We should be protected by county zoning and county codes, which are supposed to prevent this from happening. All we're asking is that you keep your part of the bargain and enforce them. Safe Embrace is a group home and is most welcome to stay a group home and is subject to residential use. Per the development code, only one dwelling unit per acre is allowed in LDS zoning. This SUP is trying to change Safe Embrace from a residential use to a civic commercial use with 3 dwelling units on 1 acre LDS lot. Planning says the residential rules don't apply if the use is changed, even though residential uses are referenced in the commercial use sections of the code. In any event, the residential use code applies since they are a group home. Safe Embrace violated many codes during the time they operated as a group care facility before their license was revoked, such as landscaping, buffer zones, fencing, not permitting their kennel, and so on. Planning admitted they did not verify Safe Embrace's claims on their application and based their findings to the Board of Adjustment on Safe Embrace's falsifications, which include: 1, they were just continuing on as a group care facility as they have for the past 20 years. They were never a group care facility prior to 2019. 2, there are adequate roadway improvements. There's no lighting, no sidewalks, and the road is in disrepair. 3, there are no deed restrictions prohibiting the proposed use. There are multiple deed restrictions prohibiting the proposed use. Even though Safe Embrace arrogantly contends the rules don't apply to them, they still need to answer the question truthfully, attach a copy of the deed restrictions as required, and respect this board enough to let you make the decision how you want to deal with them. 4, exaggeration of the total livable square footage. 5, the site location is neither safe nor discreet as stated by their executive director since the location has been disclosed. 6, the application claims additional landscaping and appropriate screening materials to encompass the total property lines are detailed in their attached report. Only a small portion is detailed. The landscaping buffer screening required by code is impossible along the 40 feet of the detached structure, only a few feet from the property line. Planning has assured us Safe Embrace will comply with Article 412. If they do, then this structure has to be modified or demolished. We all know that's not going to happen. Thank you.
We also have Alfred Knepper.
That was him.
That was him.
This is me.
And this is you. Okay, we got it. Thank you.
I change a bit. Katie Knepper. Safe Embrace, Christie Corporation, and now their attorney purposely misstate the facts. Another reason why this permit has to be denied based on County Code 125, which provides it is unlawful for a person to knowingly make or submit a false statement or material omission in connection with an application. Safe Embrace wants this board to turn a group home on a quiet street into a commercial property complete with computer lab, therapy room, kids club, and dog kennel, in addition to housing as many families as they can. Even presented with false information by Safe Embrace, the Board of Adjustment still determined this SUP does not meet finding number 2, adequate roadway improvements, and finding number 4, issuance not detrimental. It is obviously out of character to the surrounding residential properties and will be even more so with all the necessary changes they need to complete to be brought up to code, especially a 6 to 7 foot wall around the whole commercial compound. Even Ron Smith, the late Mayor Sparks, stated he would not want this facility next to his house. At least he was honest. The county has consistently thrown roadblocks in our way. Building has been ordered not to meet with us when we wanted help understanding permitting. We are tired of being bullied and having our integrity in question. Safe Embrace has falsified documents, made material omissions, and broken numerous codes without suffering any consequences. They don't even have one permanent resident. In fact, they don't have any supervision at night. Most resident homeowners on our street are senior citizens. Many are disabled. In the course of this 5-year struggle to protect our neighborhood, 2 residents have died. We had no idea when we started out 5 years ago to fix an admitted government error that being right just didn't matter. And we didn't dream it would be so expensive. 2 years ago, my husband contracted an autoimmune disease that is disabling. Stress makes it worse. This is stressful. We have lived in our home 36 years. Our memories are here. Moving is not an option for us. We need a satisfactory end to this. Our neighbors, many of whom have also lived here for years, need a satisfactory end to this. Safe Embrace needs to quit trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. We have never said Safe Embrace can't remain a group home. We have never asked to shut them down. We just asked for them to not alter our neighborhood with a commercial complex. Safe Embrace needs to find an additional location that is appropriate to service the growing needs of this community. And that is what they're doing in Carson City. They're putting a 50-resident complex together. They need an additional one, not to just make this one into a monstrosity. What's next? A 6-story building to house 70? That's not right either. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Penny Brock.
Penny Brock for the record. as I look at number 18, it says this is an appeal of the Penny Brook for the record. This is an appeal for the Washoe County Board of Adjustments' inability to approve the special use permit. So now the applicants want you to overrule your board, who's looked at this in depth. So I would encourage that you not vote for this when the time comes. The other thing that has come, I have information that Safe Embrace, there's a problem with their books. They will not disclose their books to their board. Board members are quitting because of this. So I think before any decision needs to be made, that it would be prudent if you, the county commissioners, had the Safe Embrace sit down with the other appropriate people to look at the books, find out what's really going on here. Is there a problem with their funds? Where are their funds going? Is there misappropriation of funds? I don't know. I'm just asking. You're the body that is to oversee this. It's very important. Is the money really going to their domestic violence guests, or whatever you call them? So this needs to be looked into more closely. I'm glad that you're postponing it for at least a month. I'm glad that the CEO of the chamber has said she would be happy to mediate this. So you've got a lot of options, and I want to thank you for postponing this. Thank you.
Samantha Gonzalez.
I'm going to make this short. Samantha Gonzalez. I'll make it short because I want to save my public comment for the actual hearing. I just have a couple things to say. One of them is in reply to a comment when someone said there's drug and alcohol homes and there's foster homes and there's all these group homes throughout Washoe County. That's absolutely true. The difference is they are all licensed and they report to a licensing entity. So when things go wrong, there's somebody that can intervene and help out. This isn't the case with Safe Embrace at all. And I also want to reiterate that we have never asked them to close, ever. They've been there since, we moved in the year 2000, and at that time it was an AIDS home with 5 patients, and they stayed until they died. So it wasn't this revolving door kind of population. And at the next public hearing, I'll certainly tell you about a lot of the incidences that have happened throughout the years. But I encourage you to go read Google reviews about Safe Embrace. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vicki DeMember. Not seeing Vicki here. Daniela Reynolds. I don't see her. No one else is signed in.
Okay, well, I will close public comment on item 18. We will hear this item, just to reiterate for folks who are just turning in, October 28th per the appellant's request. And now we will move to November 28th. I'm getting my months wrong. Thank you for your clarification. November 28th is when we will postpone that hearing to. We are now moving to item 19, Mr. Manager.
Item 19, public hearing subject to a finding that the related special use permit approved by the Planning Commission on WSUP 23-0020 conforms with the Truckee Meadows Regional Plan by the Regional Planning Authorities to approve a resolution initiating an amendment to the 2019 Truckee Meadows Regional Plan Map 3, Regional Utility Corridors and Sites to include an extension of a 2-mile-long 69 kilovolt transmission line within existing utility easements from Nevada Energy's Fort Sage substation through Washoe County to the California state line. WSUP 23-0020 PSREC transmission line, community transmission line. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. I will open the public hearing. And And I am looking for just a brief staff presentation.
Good afternoon, Julie Olander with Planning and Building. Would you want a slide PowerPoint? Would you want
Does
that,
the
or do you just
board
need a
or
orientation?
perhaps just a brief summary and then
Maybe
we'll.
I'll just show you a little bit here.
Perfect.
So, well, the original request is for was a special use permit for an extension of a 2-mile-long, 69 kilovolt line, and then also to modify the landscaping requirements, and then to allow a height of 35 feet. And just to get you oriented, it's out there off of First Springs Road, which is that purple line. It's really hard to show things out there. And then on the right is the parcels that are involved, and it's connecting down to the Fort Stage substation. So you can see where it goes from this substation all the way up, and then it goes into California. And as said, this is for the Plumas Sierra Rural Electric Co-op, and that is a co-op that was founded in 1937 to provide power for Plumas, Lassen, and Sierra counties. It is a member-owned electric company, and it's a non-profit company. And it serves approximately 8,000 customers in Sierra Nevada, including portions of Lassen, Plumas, Sierra, and Washoe County. Serves about 450 households in Red Rock community. And then the extension is to get it from the substation to California, includes about 35 poles, and it's 2 miles long. I'm not going to read through all this. I'm not sure if you want all those details, but there are more details. But it's just, you're being asked to amend the Truckee Meadows Regional Plan map. That's what we're being asked to do at this meeting.
Thank you very much.
And the applicant's available for questions too, if you have questions for the applicant.
Wonderful. I am looking to the Board of County Commissioners to see if you have any questions for the applicant or staff. I'm not seeing any. Madam Clerk, can we open public comment?
No one has signed in for this one.
Okay. If commissioners don't have any comments, I am looking for a motion to adopt the resolution.
Madam Chair, I'll move to adopt as presented.
Thank you, Commissioner Andriola.
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. Any question on that motion by the board? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. And it looks like that motion passes 4-1. All right, thank you so much. We will now move to item 20.
Madam Chair, I believe item 20 is the second reading, which will be done by
Oh,
the
yes,
clerk's office.
Madam Clerk.
Okay, if adopted, this will be ordinance number 1708. An ordinance amending Washoe County Code, Chapter 55, Animals and Fowl, by adding a section governing variance permit renewals by modifying the threshold requiring a variance permit from 3 dogs to 5 dogs, and by amending provisions related to the variance permit requirements for the permit application, the mandatory premises inspections, containment of dogs and cats, approval or denial of a variance permit, renewal fees, and permit revocation. The ordinance also amends a section related to dangerous and vicious dog registration by changing the word dangerous to vicious in one sentence. This was Bill number 1897.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I am looking to the board to see if folks want a presentation on this item by staff, because we do have staff in chambers, or have any questions for staff. This is the second reading, but we did have the first reading a few months ago, and so I don't know if folks are all up to snuff on this item. Commissioner Garcia, as our representative on this board, could you just give us an idea of why this recommendation happened and some background?
Yes. Thank you, Madam Chair. We met back in April as an advisory board, and Cheyenne and staff brought forward the language. So we've had some time to look at it. The plan overall is really good. It provides a lot of improvements and streamlining processes and just making the process better for our constituents and for our staff. And so as we moved forward, we followed the public process. We voted unanimously back in April to approve it as it was. We had about 30 people in attendance, if I remember correctly, in that Zoom meeting. And, things were kind of moving along. And I, since then, haven't heard any concerns or complaints from my other fellow commissioners or members of that body. I checked in with Director Scholl this morning to see if anything had surfaced since it was agendized. Hadn't heard from the chair. So as it stands today, as your representative, the animal welfare individuals, representatives that are on that board, the constituents that are on that board, are in support of this. That said, I did look at the legal opinion that was provided, and if I'll just kind of work backwards, if that's okay.
Yes, absolutely.
So there was 3 kind of arguments for keeping it at 3, and the lack of data was something that was kind of shared, but I just wanted to call attention to the fact that Cheyenne has been working and living with this for 5 years as it stands, and so that in and of itself has played out in real life, and so she's been able, and her staff been able to see where the deficits are, where the inefficiencies are. So I do think that is a form of data. There was an ADISA assessment that actually was conducted, and it recommended 6 dogs actually, and so Cheyenne was able to kind of bring that down because she didn't think that was appropriate. So I thought that was a nice level of compromise there. Again, I went through the public process. We had public comment. We had a rich discussion. We spent quite a bit of time in regard to the effects on neighbors, so that was another argument at keeping it 3. But during our April meeting, and I don't know how many of you watched the meeting, but it was a lot of rich discussion about what would happen if we moved away from this solution, which is not perfect, but it's a solution, and go to what other jurisdictions typically do, which is it doesn't go to animal services. It falls within more of the zoning and land use land. And so given that, we kind of went back and forth as a body and discussed the pros and cons of incorporating a potential parcel size, but as a group, I think we all walked away feeling comfortable with this particular process. There was one other thing mentioned as an argument for keeping it at 3, which was the welfare of dogs. But as you kind of look at the intricacies of this is a huge lift for staff. It's a tremendous amount of work. And there are, safeguards along the way to help prevent the possible neglect and abuse of these animals, dogs and cats in this case. And in fact, if you look at it, there seems to be more leverage in the animal services to be able to revoke permits and also to maintain almost a higher standard for these individuals who do apply. And it's approximately 120 permits. Here, most of them are for dogs. And so given all of this information, we heard it at the first reading, didn't hear anything kind of bubble up from it back then. I feel fine moving forward with the second reading, but I will, I'm happy to discuss. I just wanted to provide you with a little bit of the background and, of course, let legal kind of chime in too if there was something that I stated that wasn't accurate.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. That's very helpful as our representative who's living and breathing this, so I appreciate you giving us your perspective. I see DA Edwards is signed in.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Since the opinion was not shared board-wide, but there has been references to it today, I think I want to put that on the record from our perspective at the DA's office today as well. So our concerns, well, first of all, our advice from a legal standpoint was not to change this from 3 to 5. That was a drastic increase from the rule as it already exists. And for people that need to be able to have more because of living circumstances or that type of thing, there already is a mechanism for them to come in, get a permit, and have that taken care of. There was some notion of going from 5 to 4. We think that's better than going from 3 to 5 because that's half the increase that we're talking about. But the 3 points that I raised in my opinion were the effects on neighbors, the effects on the animals, and the lack of empirical data. So the data that I've seen with respect to this is anecdotal. And I think everybody that I've discussed this with sort of, behind the scenes, has acknowledged that it's an anecdotal database, which is fine. That is a form of data, but it's not empirical data. With regard to the effects on neighbors, this is a one-size-fits-all rule change, and a one-size-fits-all rule change is going to create situations where neighbors could, for example, take 5 German Shepherds and put them in a one-bedroom apartment. There is absolutely no restriction on them doing that as long as the apartment complex allows it or doesn't get involved. That's what is allowed underneath this ordinance if this change happens. So the neighbors then in that situation are in a scenario where they have to deal with, dogs, barking, being menacing, those types of things, or even in a small house or a small neighborhood, the accumulation of animal waste in the backyards and those types of things. And the only thing that the public can do at that point is, or a member of the public in that situation, is to start compiling a list of times and dates and doing audio recordings of the dogs barking and doing a journal and all that type of stuff. And I know that because I prosecuted dog barking cases and animal, at large cases and those types of things when I was in the criminal division at the DA's office, where I spent years doing criminal prosecutions. And the burden on the property owners in those situations is very onerous. It's very taxing. The remedies are inefficient, and the trials take an exorbitant amount of time. Flipping over to the effects on the animals themselves, imagine that scenario, a small house, a small apartment, 5 large dogs in those conditions. Other than being able to get on an animal cruelty case from a criminal perspective, it's very difficult for animal services to be able to do anything in those kind of situations because they've got to document, like I said, it's the flip side of what I just said about the neighbors. They have to document all those things. And so those animals are stuck in that kind of a situation. With the current cap that's in place, there's a safeguard for that, for the animals. And Animal Services does things like assess the quality of the property and the circumstances and the fencing and those types of things so that it's not a problem. So those are the 3 primary areas that I brought up in my legal opinion. That was effects on neighbors, effects on dogs, lack of empirical data. And because of that, our recommendation is not to change the variance cap on the number of dogs. I understand there's differences of opinion on this. It's not, that's just the way the world goes. And if that's the decision of the board, then so be it. It's not going to hurt my feelings, but I'll just say for the record that we do not think this is an advisable change on the cap on the dogs. Thanks.
Thank you, DA Edwards. And I will open it up to the board for discussion, and then I will open up the public hearing, public comment. Commissioner Andriola.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia, for the, summary. And for the process, and the Assistant DA for the clarification on the legal. So I actually had some questions just in terms of the layout and the materials that we received. May I ask a couple questions?
Absolutely.
So in the packet that had a table that had the various code section, current language, amended focus, that's what I'm referring to. The WCC 55.400 application inspection fees, there's 4 outlines in terms of the application. And number 2 was the drawings showing the layout of the property. And then, you list the goal. And I'm wondering, just speaking to, for instance, we'll just use hypothetical, a small apartment, and 5 Great Danes. So I didn't see a specification of a differentiation to consider that, and how, I don't know if it was the layout of the property. And the reason that I'm bringing that up, because in that same document, when you're speaking about containment of cats for WCC 55.415, item number 6 specifies space not less than 500 cubic feet. There's additional breakdown of space for cats, but in terms of dogs, I'm not trying to say one is better than the other. All animals are wonderful. But I'm just wondering, it might be an apple and orange comparison, but at the same time, it doesn't, I know that you have the specifications for keeping dogs in terms of, not less than 6 feet wide. I'm guessing that's all, outside. So I guess really what I'm asking is that there wasn't anything that I could see and how I reviewed all of this that would actually allow through this proposed adoption that would give you, essentially, Animal Services, the ability to, I'll use the term, deny an application based on, 600 square feet and 5 Great Danes, as an example.
Good afternoon. Cheyenne Schill for the record. Through the chair, Commissioner Andriola, the square footage is something that we've added as amended language. The bulk of the variance permit holders that we currently have utilize their residence as part of the enclosure, if not the whole enclosure, and how they contain their dogs. And so that's something that we've added to clarify in this version. And under the 55-410, it actually talks about the square feet per dog. And so that is something that we will start to track if amended and adopted in terms of square footage required per animal. So if they are using an apartment, for example, the square footage of the home would have to be taken into consideration for the application to be approved.
Absolutely.
So the table that I'm talking about, I didn't see square footage of home. The ordinance that was presented, you're stating that the amendments to square footage are included in this or included in policy?
Commissioner Andriola, Cheyenne Schill for the record, it is included in the draft language to the code amendment under 55-410, subsection 1C, or B, excuse me. That includes the square footage for inside a residence for keeping of a dog.
Okay, great. We had several drafts.
Yes.
So, at some point, would you be so kind to repeat that again? Just where is it? I won't spend time in holding anything up, but would you be so kind?
If you're looking at the same draft I am, it should be on page 4, but it's 55-410.
Okay, I'm on page 4.
Under containment requirements for keeping more than 5 adult dogs, subsection 1B,
Okay.
boy.
I see it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's what happens when you get a lot of drafts. Thank you.
Any other questions? Commissioner Andriola?
I am going to follow up now that I do see the square footage. How did you arrive at this in terms of the square footage?
I can't remember how we arrived at the actual square footage. I know that as we have been working through the amendments to this language, we have looked at other examples of permits of dogs and cats over the limit, trying to come up with a compromise and creating that ability for applicants to keep their animals inside their property or inside their homes, as most of them do, instead of requiring them to have an actual kennel, which is how it's worded in our variance permit code language now. So we did actually revise the kennel sizing as well to be more standardized so that our applicants can go down to your box stores and purchase a kennel if that is how they choose to keep their animals contained.
Okay, thank you. And so my last question on this is to the Assistant DA, Edwards. The point about I was using the example of 600 square feet and 3 Great Danes. You did not use that example, but using that example and what you had explained legally, does the square footage give any, relief to some of the legal concerns of possibly having 600 square feet and 3 Great Danes?
Thank you, Madam Chair. To Commissioner Andriola, no. Because what you're talking about is the square footage requirement for 6 or more dogs. So 5 Great Danes get no protection for square footage, and 6 get the 50 per square foot per dog minimum in 410. And that's the issue that
I
I've
see.
flagged with the one-size-fits-all approach. So no, it doesn't.
I see. So if in fact there was language that specified for, this many dogs, and then not just having it be up to 6 or below, I guess what I'm saying is there any way that there could possibly be some discussion of a compromise to not only satisfy the legal exposure and give relief, but still accommodate the hard work that the animal services have done on this and the 5 years of experience that has, created the compilation of what we're looking at right now?
There are definitely ways that this could be mitigated. The question of how much of that can be done on the fly at the dais today is kind of a different question. But yes, there are mitigations that could occur, property size caps or something like that, for that. Just conceptually, I know Regional Animal Services, by the way, they do an awesome job. And this is, like I said, there are differences of opinion, it's fine. But I know they're not in favor of this, but there are things you could do with, for example, a property size cap that is 3 or below if you're under half an acre and 5 or above if you're over half an acre, that type of thing. I'm just making those numbers up, but that type of approach would be a substantial mitigation to the issues that I have raised. Because you put 5 good-sized dogs on a half-acre piece of property. That's a completely different prospect than 5 good-sized dogs in a 2-bedroom apartment. It's just a drastic difference for the animals and the neighbors in those kind of situations. And I'm just using those to illustrate the point, but that's the possibilities that are out there.
So would you be amenable to looking at having, I know that there's action that needs to be taken in terms of procedure today, but I'm just asking a question. If in fact this doesn't move forward as presented, is there an opportunity to actually look at what those parameters could be, or are you already aware of that? Is Animal Services aware of that? Because if you already are, that's fine, but I'm just curious.
Commissioner Andriola, through the chair, I'm Cheyenne Schill for the record. This idea was proposed early on, and a question was actually asked by the advisory board about using property size as potential factors for consideration of these permits. Unfortunately, the property size and assessment process is an additional layer of work that would go into these already very tenuous, extremely labor-intensive permits. Each of these permits takes approximately 8 hours of staff time. And I feel that it should be mentioned that we're undergoing a fee study currently to potentially revise our fees. And the proposed full cost of these variance permits is projected at over $700 per variance permit. So the goal really is to streamline and make this work more efficient, not more complex. And we're not in the land surveillance business, and that's not something we wish to add to our process. So yes, we are aware of it. It is an idea that has been proposed, and that is generally something that is done when this permit system lives in planning and zoning departments, but it lives with animal services.
And that's why Commissioner Garcia said that it was contemplated, but it'd have to go to another department, which would just add another layer of administration to that process.
And just to add, we felt the same concern. So you're definitely on the right track, I think, just in terms of the implications of this. But some of the things that reassured us as a body was that the other parts of this plan have improvements to the actual application process. So for example, these folks will now have to disclose a purpose, reason for having X number of dogs in this case. They'll also have to provide a contact information for their property owner, landlord, HOA. There's also refinements in terms of the renewal process. So there's actually a renewal process with this version, and there's improvements to the containment. So one of the things that I didn't know when I was learning about this is that all neighbors are notified within 200 feet. So there's a lot of checks and balances with this. Not to say that I just want to put on the record that I don't want to streamline things for animal services and then complicate things for our DA's office. That's not my intent. But my thought is, having looked at all the information and weighing all of it together, nothing is really bubbling up for me of major concern. I do see possibilities for not so great of characters that come into the system and abuse, what we're providing as an opportunity. But if they mess up, if we go in a year after they've had their permit, we check things out, animals are not being taken care of the way that they should be, then we can step in.
Chair Hill, if I can add additionally to what Commissioner Garcia just mentioned in regards to some of the data that we do have in the 5 years that this permit has been in place, is we have approximately 115 variance permit holders today. Of course, that's a fluid number that ebbs and flows as people drop off and people move out of the county, people move into the county. And as the process goes in terms of oversight, I have denied 37 variance permit applications in that 5 years based on past activity, based on violations, based on NRS violations, things of that nature that give me that discretion to do so. I've only revoked 9 out of those over 100 variance permits. Because we go in annually, we do the renewal, we do the inspection, we look at the property history. Has there been any violations in the last year of this variance permit holder? They are held to a standard that is a little bit more at the surface level in terms of if someone has a loose dog or a barking dog complaint, that potential application can be revoked because of those violations. And so we do review those every year. So I think there is a very good oversight process built into the variance permit.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Clark.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I've spoken with Ms. Scholl about this. I think that they're the subject matter experts there. I think she's done a great job in the past. I support what she wants to do. I don't think any of us are wanting to micromanage what she's doing. I think they've spent a lot of time and effort on this, and I support what she's trying to do. So I think we need to move forward with it and let her do her job.
Thank you, Commissioner Clark. And Commissioner Andriola.
I would echo that. I mean, I think that when you give the board a responsibility to vet everything that has been vetted, and I just appreciate the clarity, though, and the time and the patience to ask the questions, because it is certainly under a lot of work that you all have done. And I do think that just trying to clarify was helpful, and I appreciate all of that, your time and the summary and even the follow-up as well. So, I'm definitely going to support this as well, and, I guess, good luck. Yes, I just keep on visioning 600 square feet with 3 Great Danes. I don't know where that came from, by the way, but I do appreciate, again, all the hard work by everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's important that the discussion was on the record, I will just say. So I think it was a great discussion. Madam Clerk, unless there's any other commissioner comments, can we please open up the public comment?
Jill Dobbs.
Can I get a step stool? I hate having to follow Cheyenne at a microphone. Jill Vakina Dobbs, for the record, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to the board today on this very important topic. I am the executive director of the SPCA of Northern Nevada. I was appointed to the Washoe County Regional Animal Services Advisory Board by this body in 2017, its inaugural year. I was appointed to that body as a subject matter expert, and I served gratefully until I termed out earlier this year. But I am very familiar with this process as I was on the board while we went through these code amendments. And I encourage the Board of County Commissioners to approve these amendments here today. The only argument I've personally heard against them, again, involve the cap on dogs, moving that from 3 to 5. As a trained, experienced animal welfare professional who has been involved in this movement for almost 20 years, I do not see a problem with that. And again, when I was on the board, I voted in favor of moving that cap from 3 to 5. The variance process is time and resource intense and should be reserved for special circumstances of owning more than 5 dogs. We already have existing legal processes either included in the amendments as previously detailed and mentioned or in existing county code to address concerns of too many dogs living in inhumane circumstances, welfare checks, citations, appeals, etc. I would like to address the hypothetical situation of 3 to 5 Great Danes living in 600 square feet. I know that we're trained as risk assessors to really look at worst case scenario fears, but there is an assumption that those Great Danes are highly active puppies running around. You'd be amazed how many pit bulls and mastiffs I have chilling on my couch at any given time. And I have a small house. And they get their exercise and their daily needs met in other ways. The vast majority of people do not want to, nor will they, own 5 or more dogs. Those who do tend to be smaller dogs. So I want to caution this board in really spending too much time on hypotheticals. Many of the larger dogs are very lazy. If anyone has ever owned a Mastiff versus a Chihuahua, that's a perfect example. I want to defer to the additional information that Cheyenne and her staff, who are the subject matter experts, have provided, and great discussion and communication on the board, but I speak in favor of approving the amendments as proposed.
Thank you.
No one else has signed in.
Okay, great. Madam Clerk, I did not write it down. Perhaps someone else. Okay. Commissioner Garcia, I'm looking at this point, unless there's further discussion, for a motion, and it looks like Commissioner Garcia is ready.
Yeah, I move to adopt ordinance number 1708 as outlined in the staff report.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Thank you, Commissioner Andriola. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. Okay, and that motion passes 4-1. All right, this is the end of our scheduled public hearings. We now will go to item 21. Mr. Manager.
Item 21 is public comment. Comment heard under this item will be limited to 3 minutes per person, may pertain to matters both on and off the commission agenda. Commission will also hear public comment during individual action items with comment limited to 3 minutes per person. Comments that are be made to the commission as a whole.
Madam Clerk.
Penny Brock.
Penny Brock, for the record, please put my comments in the record per NRS. I would like to address the senior issue. Now that I know that Washoe County is responsible for the seniors, like the school districts under Washoe County, 911 just came under, now we know who to talk to. It's you on the dais. So I'm glad that we finally uncovered the dark secret, who to talk to about the senior issue. So I appreciated what Commissioner Clark said, that it seems like in Washoe County, the homeless are the priority. We know that we've got about 1,700 homeless. versus 111,000 seniors. And yet, in this fiscal year budget, the homeless indigent are getting $88 million, while the seniors, 111,000 seniors, are getting about $10 million. Does that sound right? What do you think? I think perhaps Commissioner Clark is right. The homeless are the priority with the county. Perhaps that needs to change. We also know that over $150 million was spent for the CARES campus for about 1,700 homeless. And we've got our wonderful senior center in your backyard here on 9th Street. It's scary. It's being taken over by the homeless. You're giving them the CARES campus, and yet they want to come here. I was glad when I drove up that the shopping carts weren't lining 9th Street. I don't know if that's every day or if that was just for the purpose of this morning when we, the public, were coming to the county commission meetings. But it was glad to see the shopping carts disappeared somewhere rather than, as usual, lining the street. So Reno has no senior center. Sparks has the Sparks Senior Center. The Spanish Springs has the senior center, plus Sparks uses the library and other community buildings. Reno has nothing. Reno is a larger community than Sparks. So I would hope that all of the county commissioners would realize something needs to be done to correct this problem. And the good news is there is a senior advisory board. Commissioner Clark oversees that, along with Commissioner Andriola. So I'm so glad now to know who we need to talk to. So I'm hoping that the board here will make this a priority to look at what's going on, what can be done. Immediately in Reno, you can use the library on Wedge Parkway and the one in the Northwest to provide some things for the seniors. Thank you.
Nick Vanderpool.
Good afternoon, Chair and Commissioners. Nick Vanderpool with Flynn Judici Government Affairs. I apologize for not being here for Agenda Item 15, but I just want to congratulate the Commission for approving a PACE program in Washoe County, joining a list of other jurisdictions throughout Nevada. It's a kind of a surreal feeling to watch a bill that I worked with Senator Chris Brooks in the 2021 session, and the amount of stakeholders that were at the table on this bill, we went through probably 9 iterations of it to get it right, and to watch the jurisdictions start to, because it was permissive, you know, it was like one of those, it's like go to each one, and we're slowly still approving them throughout Nevada. Sparks was recent, and now today, Washoe County. So, and it's kind of, it was kind of coincidence too, because we were having my firm was having a meeting with the Governor's Office on Economic Development, talking about a company relocating to Nevada, and they wanted to take advantage of the Nevada State Small Business Credit Initiative, which was funded through ARPA dollars. That's $128 million that came to the state, and in the SSBCI, there's $35 million for PACE financing, so to help these companies moving to Nevada. And so this is a great opportunity. I hope this company takes advantage of the PACE program in Washoe County. It would be located out in Verdi. So it's a unique opportunity, but I want to applaud and thank the Commission for approving that today. So thank you.
Thank you.
Bill Miller.
Good afternoon, Council Chair Hill, council members, and fellow citizens. I'm Bill Miller, a Reno resident deeply concerned about the threats of the climate crisis. I'm here to thank the council for voting in favor of item 15, the CPACE proposal. This action will increase our climate resiliency while supporting local business increasing their energy efficiency. A win-win. So thank you for doing the right thing for our community and our environment.
Thank you.
And no one else is signed in.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, we will now move to item 22, Mr. Manager.
Item 22 is Commissioners and County Managers' announcements, reports, and updates to include boards and commissions updates, requests for information, and topics for future agendas.
Okay, thank you. Looking to the board to see if anyone has any announcements or comments. Commissioner Clark.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to just kind of reemphasize my comments at the beginning of the meeting. When we hold a meeting out of the chambers, I'd like to make sure that the facility, the venue, has at least as many chairs and many opportunities for citizens to join us. And then, you know, it seems to be, I'm not worried about it, but it seems to be a big issue, security. We've got 3 sheriffs here. We've got the dais is blocked. When we're at that little library, who's going to protect us? You know, do we have bulletproof panels there? Do we have metal detectors at the library? So those are concerns that I have. People seem to worry about it around here. We've got our own little enclave here for meetings, and I don't know why we have to travel and make it inconvenient for the citizens, make it inconvenient for the staff to move things over. So in the future, I'd like to again emphasize that we need to have our meetings here or at least a suitable location. Thank you.
Any other commissioners have comments? I'm not seeing any. Mr. Manager, do you have anything for us?
Simply to remind everybody that next Tuesday, 9 o'clock, Sparks Library, we will have our strategic planning session with the Board of County Commissioners. It will include an update on the strategic plan process since our last meeting in January. It will also include topics or discussion on important strategy issues such as our seniors, mental health, and our capital spending priorities as it relates to buildings, roads, those kinds of things. So it will be live streamed for folks who can't get there in person.
Wonderful.
But next Saturday, 9 o'clock, Sparks Library.
I'm excited to have the event in my hometown library, so it will bring me back as going to that library as a kid with my mom. All right, with that, we are adjourned.